on the night show. Sorry if I faked you out there, but I am filling in for Joe. Joe is away. We still got James Scaramazino, Scaz behind the glass for us. And to my left is my partner in crime, my co-host on the Sports Hub Underground podcast. Go download that. What's going on, Ty?
What's going on? The light's always this bright at night in here.
I think they're always that bright, no matter what the show is.
Hey, all right.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I come in here and the lights are off when Joe's doing the show.
Yeah.
No, now they got to shine the light on every single blemish and imperfection on our lovely faces.
You're fat. Yeah, man, I know. I'm working on it.
I know.
Working on it.
I think someone the other day called me slovenly.
I always feel like, is it in Slapshot, Paul Newman's like, we're working on it. It's like what I feel like whenever someone...
Today be tonight? No. Yeah, do I ever come in here coming off slovenly, Ty? Like, I know I'm overweight. I got to work on it, but come on. I do my hair. I dress.
No, I get called homely every now and then.
Homely? Well, that's not nice.
No, that's okay,
nice.
though.
All right. Well, we're off and running. There we go. There are the lights. There are the Undertaker's coming out.
Man.
I don't know what's happening. But we got In and Out coming later, so it's gonna be, basically a proper Joe show. I am gonna be tighter on the clock, Scaz, just so you know. This is not, when Joe Murray's in here,
Scaz.
like, what is time? But we're going to use the clock. We're going to look at the clock and see what time it is.
Can I tell you something? I frequently listen to the Joe Show when I'm driving home or just driving somewhere, and sometimes he goes late, and I like him going late because I'm like, I don't want this combo to end right now. We got some juice here. We got some momentum here. I don't want to break it. It's like when a team is on the power play. You're like, don't freeze it.
Yeah.
It's like that sometimes. So, yeah.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, a lot of radio shows would do that if it's like a heated argument and people are going back and forth and it's like they're both like in the pocket with the argument, so they want to keep that going. With Joe, it's just like talking about the best roast beef spots in Woburn. Like, they'll just go on for 23 minutes about that. And I enjoy it. I kind of egg them on. Last time I was on, I was like, Joe, I blame myself because we were so up against it with the clock and all that. But no, it's always fun having conversations about them, about whatever. We got you for 4 hours tonight, folks. So we're probably we'll go off the grid a little bit at times here, but we are going to lead out with the Boston Celtics and everything that's come out the last few days, the Jaylen Brown trade, the aftermath, the fallout, the reporting. Brad Stevens and Bill Chisholm yesterday speaking to the media for the first time since the trade. The dust has sort of settled, Ty. I think, the initial revulsion has maybe worn off. I sense maybe the tide's kind of turning with Celtics fans. Now that feels like they're sort of circling the wagons, or maybe they liked it all the way and they've been just lying in the weeds waiting to come at people who didn't like the trade. I think it boils down to this. They got worse as a basketball team with this one swap. This one trade, I know Brad says it's not one for one, but trading Jaylen Brown for Paul George made them a worse basketball team for 2026-27. I think there's no way to argue otherwise, and I think there's no way to justify the return on this trade because you're going into Jason Tatum's age 28 season, right? That's the prime year of all prime years. He basically got robbed of his age 27 season. So if you want to say he's saved his body for a year, so to speak, because of the recovery, this is like the prime year for Jason Tatum. Should be a go-for kind of year for the Celtics. All they've done in the last calendar year is shed payroll, get under the tax entirely, and tell us that it's about anything but being a better basketball team, which I think goes to a point that you've been making to me off the air, which is that kind of hard to believe Bill Chisholm when he says it's not about the money. It's about winning. The mandate is to win. We're going to spend whatever it takes. All right, I'll believe that when I see it. And look, I get all the financial machinations that people have been throwing at me. I get the apron part of it. Like, it's very punitive. You basically can't make moves if you're in the second apron. So I get it. You don't really want to get to that area. The luxury tax is just money. And I even get the repeater tax part of it. Like, it gets absurd if you stay in the tax for 3 out of 4 years or whatever it is. Like, I know that can get absurd for a team. But at the end of the day, it's just money. And so they got to prove it. They got to prove that it's not about the money. Spend into the tax. Pay your repeater tax. They only have to get under the luxury tax, I believe, after the trade deadline in 2 of the next 3 years, something like that, or 2 years in a 4-year period. I don't think we're asking much when we say in those other years, in those other time periods, spend what it takes to win a championship. And I think a lot of the reactions, a lot of the pushback from the fans tends to go back to them saying they're gearing up for another move. They're going to spend more in the future. This gives them the flexibility to spend more down the road. Again, I'll believe it when I see it. I think they are overly optimistic about the team's intentions for what they've done here, and I think they've given us very little evidence to suggest that they are actually going to spend what it takes to win a championship.
Yeah, and I think if we're rolling this back here and we're taking a look just beyond just the last 2 summers, they also made trades in season to get under a tax apron. So everything they do is about getting under aprons or getting out of taxes and what have you, and you can look at it and say, well, it's the right move. Xavier Tillman's not playing, so who cares? But it's like, yeah, but you're still doing things to save money, not to win basketball games at the end of the day, it feels like, right? And so where people lose me with, listen, they might be a better team next year. They might be. Because the sort of juxtaposition that I'm seeing right now, or the moving of the goalpost now, is that, well, you're getting Tatum back next year. And, you didn't have him all last year. It's like, okay.
Yeah, he's their big free agent addition of the offseason, Jason Tatum.
It's like, well, last year you had Jaylen Brown, and this year you're getting Jason Tatum, and Jason Tatum is better than Jaylen Brown. It's like, yeah, sure. It's better than that, having both of them at the same time, which you didn't have a year ago for the most part. So that's how I look at that. Now, if you sat me down for half an hour, and a caller is welcome to call in and try to do this, you can explain to me, sure, they're a better basketball team. Sure, this is why this had to happen. The analytics, the blah, 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 blah. I just think they're a better team with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I never once subscribed to the one over the other. I thought they were always better together. I thought they were the yin and the yang in terms of the mentality they brought. I thought it was a good contrast for both players. Now, again, the analytics might not bear that out. I understand that part of it. But I have a hard time sitting here the day after the press conference where they spoke for 45 minutes about optionality and well, this opens up doors for the future, to then sit here and also say, well, no, you're going to be a better team next year too. They themselves are saying this is more about the future than the immediate present, right? So to your point, yeah, it feels like they're a worse team today than they were a week and a half ago before this trade broke.
Right. I care more about the present. I care more about this coming season and the season after that. Because Jason Tatum is 28 and 29 years old. I don't care about 5 years from now when he's going to be 33. And look, maybe those 2 lottery picks turn into something. But then you're talking about this guy needs to step in and be a stud immediately because we're trying to get that one last banner for Tatum as he's starting to decline.
Oh, I've been
that's
there.
What I think's going to happen.
I've been there. I know what that's like. One more for Bergeron. One more for Marchand. Next thing you know, it's all over. No, but I think to your point, though, now you're kind of looking at that, and I think fans are saying, okay, so this is for the future. Why did we get on the 1 yard line with Giannis only to say, you want Ugo and Baylor? No way, and leave that discussion entirely. And that's where I think the confusion sets in for a lot of people. How can you in one breath say, oh, we're going to make that trade, we're going to spend that money when it becomes available? When that right deal is there, we're going to be there. You bet your bottom dollar we're going to be there. And when it happened 11 days ago and you weren't there. I just don't. What's better than Giannis? What's better than Giannis right now for them in terms of making that move? It's Jokic. Maybe you kick it down the road and it's Cooper Flagg, but then again, that's 3-4 years away.
And you're projecting on that one,
right? So it's just the Celtics right now have a believability problem. I think they're going to be a fine team. I think they're going to win a lot of games. They'll probably be the 2 seed once again this year. But I think when it comes to believing and them having championship aspirations, right now we have a believability problem with this team, and it begins with ownership right now.
Yeah, that's where I land at the end of the day. You talk about the CBA and the aprons and the tax and all that. You could talk about the analytics saying Jaylen Brown's not as good as you think he is. You can talk about how maybe he was a pain in the ass behind the scenes. Maybe he clashed with Joe Mazzulla. Maybe he and Tatum don't want to play together anymore, but he wants to be a number one. All that stuff. I still think it's worth just trying to make it work with Jaylen Brown as opposed to shipping him out for Paul George. And look, throw Mike Conley in there if you want to match the money, because Brad's saying he doesn't want to have 70% of the cap tied up in 2 players. Okay, well now you get 70% tied up in 3 players. Tatum, Paul George, and 38-year-old Mike Conley. I can't see how that's going to make them a better basketball team. We can get into that, more of the details of that later in the show. We can get into the Tatum Brown aspect of it. I find it hard to believe that this ownership group is they're going to follow through with their promise to spend what it takes to win. And look, if that means go right up to the first apron without going into it so you can have the flexibility to make moves, I get it. Maybe they learned their lesson from that in 2025 when they realized we're a second apron team. We spent so much on our team, we can't do anything. We can't even make a little tweak here and there, and so we don't want to do this anymore. And so I get all that. I just think I would have preferred they just wrote it out with Jaylen Brown for 3 more years and lost him for nothing over making this deal. That's how bad the return is, in my opinion. Like, I just don't think they needed to make this move right now, and I don't think the return was worth making this particular move.
No, I agree, and you know, I will probably warm up to it. I'm not going to lie to you. If you explain it to me, oh, we want to do this, this, and this, and this is why this makes sense. Yeah, sure. I'll warm up to it. I just feel like the best version of the Boston Celtics for next year did have Brown and Tatum together. You don't, and now you're kind of back in the spot now where you're praying that Tatum is healthy, A, and B, is the guy, which is something that, you know, hit or miss. I think depending on the circumstance and depending on which game you want to reference, right, in terms of him being the guy. And I feel like this is a situation where each guy made the other one better. Analytics will tell me differently. I understand that part of it. But I think this is something that you look at right now. And I think, Matt, and we can talk more about this on the other side. I know we got to take a break here quickly. But I do feel like the fact that it is making a team in your division, in your conference better, directly conflicts with the idea that you're going to be a better team, right? Or that you're going to this is going to open the door. It's like, well, you made that team. That team's not looking like they're going to go get out of your way anytime soon right now, at barring something that you can't see coming. So that's all part of this process. But I agree with you. Your opening thought that I'm seeing more people warming up to this move than I did before the weekend. Right before Stevens and Chisholm spoke for 45 minutes, I felt like it was, what are they doing? This makes no sense, blah, blah, blah. So you give credit to Stevens, I think, in that regard, right? The press conference, and we'll dive into the press conference more, I know. But it does feel like the day after the press conference is not as bad of a fallout as I thought it could have been for the Boston Celtics.
617-779-0985. We're up and running. Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on the Joe Show. We are talking Celtics now, but honestly, you can call in and talk about whatever you want. We're not in the business of turning away callers here on a Tuesday night here on just a disgusting day in Boston if you've been outside, and really a disgusting few months when it comes to sports news.
It's that Godzilla 97 weather out there right now.
It's that Ghostbusters 2 pink slime. Everybody hates each other. It's getting bad out there, folks. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come right back.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, Sports Hub listeners, did you know that you can save money on Boston Red Sox, World Cup, and New England Patriots tickets?
You have to be thinking about you first and the optionality it creates for you. Keep us at a very competitive level and give us optionality moving forward. You talked about Paul's contract a little bit and how it times up. That will give us optionality not only in adding to our team, but also retaining some of our team. It's that plus the picks, plus the optionality moving forward. Paul's contract is shorter. He'll have his choice with his player option next year. But I think that, and again, I keep going back to like myself as a kid. Like, I don't want to hear about picks and optionality. I don't. We think we've got a good team, and we think we've got a lot of options moving forward.
Optionality more than once in that one clip, Scales?
That was a little mashup of some optionality for you.
Okay. I couldn't tell if that was one clip or if it was, I think Jake Seymour told us he said it. He texted us initially, said Brad said it 19 times. And then a few minutes later, he's like, oh, no, sorry, it was 12.
Still too many.
I don't know what happened with the Jake Seymour. He was too much Felger and Maz time. He's doing some Felger and Maz math on that one. But still, 12 is a high number for that word, especially. Why do you got to say optionality instead of options? It's trying to confuse people.
Yeah, that's too many. It's too many times to say it.
It's too many syllables.
I will say, I think that Stevens came out of yesterday looking a little bit better than Bill. I think that he kind of went up there and immediately said, like, I'm not here to defend myself. I'm not here to basically, like, kind of saying, you want to throw rocks at me, go for it, but I'm not here to play that game, right? And so I think, as annoying as it was, the optionality, the emphasis on that, and saying it, and basically every answer, it felt like, I do think that Stevens did a good job of sort of laying the framework for the convo that we've heard a lot on Tuesday morning about the usage and the 70% tied up in two guys. Like, you're seeing more of that now than you did, again, over the weekend, where it was, they traded their second best player, top 50 NBA player. Why would they do that? So yeah. I will say that between the two, I do think that Brad came out looking better than Bill, because Brad said we have options, but he didn't promise anything. Bill kind of backed himself into a corner and promised something, saying, we're going to be in on it. The next big guy, don't you worry, we're going to be in on it. And it's like, all right, well, what happens if tomorrow Scotty Barnes wants out of Toronto? You going to be in on that? You said you were. So now every player that's available for the next 5 years, the Celtics have to be in on it, or people are going to say, hey, Bill, you're being cheap again. What are you, a fake billionaire?
Yeah.
Do something.
Again, we're going to spend whatever it takes to win. So that must mean paying the taxes, right? The tax is just money. What if you have to pay the tax in order to win, then you will pay the tax, right? I do think it's just fair to be skeptical of that. And I agree that, Brad came out sounding better. I think Brad's hand was forced in this. I think this was an ownership decision. And Bill Chisholm did mention, people thought this was throwing Brad under the bus, that he said, Brad came to me with this idea and said that this is the best way to be a better basketball team going forward. But I think what he left out of that is the conversation that came before that, which is Brad was asked, how can we become a better basketball team while continuing to stay out of the aprons and preferably under the luxury tax entirely, Brad? How can we do that? And so Brad said, I don't know, I guess we got to trade Jaylen Brown for multiple pieces because we can't have two guys taking up too much of the cap if we're going to do that. And they said, yes, do that. Trade Jaylen. Do it now. Do it now, in fact. That's still what I'm the most confused about, is why now? Like, maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe there was a reason they had to do it now, as opposed to, and I'm not even talking about next year. I'm not even talking about next trade deadline. I'm talking about, like, in the next 2 weeks. They couldn't have held out for a couple of weeks. Like Chris Mannix was on with Ryan Russillo recently. He said he talked to a team that was in on Jaylen Brown, and they made a lowball offer. That's pretty standard, right? I'm no business expert, but I imagine most negotiations, you start with a lowball and then go from there. They thought their lowball offer was better than what the Celtics took. And this guy admitted to Chris Mannix, this front office guy, that they probably would have upped their offer if the Celtics just had more patience, created a better market. So where I do have an issue with Brad Stevens is maybe he showed a little bit of his inexperience here. It's easy to forget that he's only been a GM for a few years. I don't know exactly how many years, but it hasn't been very long. And he's been really good in the first two. Like, he was shockingly good, I thought, when he hit the ground running as the GM with his aggressive moves, his fearlessness, the way he's retooling the roster. Then I think they spent their way to oblivion they spent all out. They spent what it took, Ty, to win a championship in the last year with the Grosbecks as ownership. And then they realized the next year, running it back isn't the best idea. You kind of got to retool every year. And now we're in the second April, so now we can't really do anything. We kind of just have to play it out with what we have. So now they come out of that year and say, all right, we got to get out of these aprons at least. But now they're under the tax entirely. So now that tells me their goal is to get out of that repeater tax. They don't want to pay the repeater taxes, which is another thing. Again, it's a lot of money. But if you don't come out and say you're going to spend whatever it takes to win. I respect it more if he came out and admitted that, look, we're trying to save money here, basically. Not that he's going to say it in that exact way, but I think to come out and say it's not about the money and then make all these moves that are clearly at least somewhat related to finances, I just think it was disingenuous and talking out of both sides of their mouth.
No, I agree. And this is sort of, I think, where we're coming back to the problem of being the guys after the guys that won it, right? Like, we've always seen this with players, right? It's always tough to be the next quarterback after Tom Brady, the next goalie after Timmy Thomas. We never thought about it in terms of ownership, right? You're the first owners after Wick Grosbeck and Pags after they won a championship. So what's your stamp on it? And as we've said now for 2 years, the stamp has been selling, getting under penalties, getting under taxes. Now, part of that's timing, right? The NBA CBA, I think, is probably one of the worst CPAs in sports in terms of how it really punishes teams for wanting to win. And then Silver is like, hey, team's trying to lose. I don't like that. It's like, well, stop punishing teams for winning, bozo.
Yeah. It's a little too punitive, I think. That Brady was even talking about, can we tweak the rules a little bit? Like, maybe put a little addendum in the CBA. Skaz, you were mentioning the timing in the email leading up to the show. Can you tell me what you thought, why the Celtics made this trade now as opposed to later?
Yeah, so, I mean, look, I'm of the camp that, the Celtics were better with Tatum and Brown. When it comes to the timing, though, I was very, curious as well to why now. And then Donovan Mitchell got paid today. And I want to make sure I have the numbers in front of me here.
It was like $7 billion.
4 years, 270, something like that.
So I believe Donovan Mitchell, in year 4 of his new contract, he'll be making $75.5 million per year. So I think we'd all agree Jaylen Brown is a much better player than Donovan Mitchell, and Jaylen Brown would be looking for his extension. And I think the leverage, any leverage the Celtics did have, if they were dead set on moving on from Jaylen Brown, which I unfortunately think they were, would be gone. Donovan Mitchell signs this extension, then teams realize what the number is going to be for Jaylen Brown. You lose even more leverage in trading him with that extension looming, and I think you would probably have gotten even a worse return today than they did end up getting for Jaylen Brown.
Man, I can't even imagine a worse, no draft picks, I guess. Just Brown for Paul George straight up.
Second round.
See, that's what I can wrap my head around, the whole thing where the timing with the guys getting the extension, Jaylen Brown saying, I want that. But it's at the end of the day, I still think you're better off just sitting him down, talking it over, smoothing things over with whatever issues you got behind the scenes, and just playing it out, as opposed to taking what they got. And again, I just don't see why they had to make this move today last week as opposed to at the end of this month. Wait on, see if someone gives you a little bit more, get some kind of bidding war going. I just think they rushed into it, and I get it that they don't want to pay Brown the extension. It's still, just don't pay the extension. Just play out the contract, lose him, let him walk, and just try to win the next couple of years. I find it hard to believe that they're actually trying to win the next couple of years the way they're built. All right, Ty, I know you probably got another thought, but we're going to take another quick break here. I see you on the lines. Hang on there. We're going to take your calls, coming back and get more thoughts from everybody on the Celtics. Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
The U.S. men's national team's World Cup dreams were absolutely ruined by Belgium Monday night, with the Americans suffering a 4-1 loss. It got downright ugly, too, with this one turned into a laugher in the second half following a disastrous decision to play the ball by U.S. goalkeeper Matt Freese. Elsewhere in the World Cup, Messi and Argentina came through with an insane second-half comeback against Egypt, en route to a 3-2 win to punch their ticket to the quarterfinals. Switzerland, meanwhile, beat Colombia in penalty kicks to advance to the group of 8. And with the dust settled on the Jaylen Brown trade, the Celtics made their signings of Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley Jr. official on Tuesday morning. And in case you're wondering, there's been a slight change for the Celtics, with Ron Harper Jr.'s new deal is a 4-year deal, not a 3-year deal as originally reported. The Red Sox, meanwhile, they're back in action Tuesday night in Chicago against the White Sox. That game is just about to get underway with Peyton Tolley on the mound for the Sox. In other Red Sox news, the Red Sox have finally activated lefty Patrick Sandoval to the active roster for the first time since signing him back in December 2024. The Red Sox sent Alex Gamboa to Worcester, while pitcher Jack Anderson was designated for assignment by the club in corresponding moves. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-thru oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I am Ty Anderson. Next, checking the headlines in half an hour.
You're listening.
98.5 The Sports Hub. People could talk about the draft picks, the cap, all that. It's like, even if those draft picks turn into something, you're still talking about 2 years from now for the first one, and then the next one is 2031. Jason Tatum's going to be 33 years old. It's like, your best hope is that, like, in year 2 of that 2031 pick, he's a stud, and he's dragging a 35-year-old Jason Tatum to a championship. That's the disappointing part of, like, people focusing too much on the long term. It's like, no, I think your time to win was now. Like, they had a chance here to do something special in this modern era of the NBA, which is nobody has repeated since the Warriors did. Was it 2018? So it's been 8 straight years with not just not a repeat champion, but has anybody even won twice in the last 8 years? I don't think so.
No.
Like, the Celtics came close. They could have beaten the Warriors and then beat the Mavericks 2 years later. Like, OKC, I thought, had a chance to repeat this year. They come up short. Next year, like, maybe it's Minnesota's turn next year. You're like, who knows? Like, it feels like another team pops up every year. The Celtics, I thought, were in that special position where they had 2 All-NBA players, and they had, I thought, a special GM in Brad Stevens who could figure out how to get value on the rest of the roster and figure out how to win with 2 guys taking up 70% of the cap, at least for this year, next year. Like, I would have been fine with just riding it out and losing him for nothing, like I said, over what they got in this particular trade. You know, like, if they could trade Jaylen Brown for, you know, just a better package of players or something closer to what Giannis got, or even what you saw what the Raptors got for, or what the Clippers got for Kawhi Leonard, like, was Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, maybe another player or 2 and picks like that. I probably would have preferred that way more than Paul George. I was even saying, I was probably the only person on this station, Ty, that was saying I'd be okay with trading Jaylen Brown for multiple pieces, because maybe Jaylen Brown is a little overpaid. Maybe he is a little overpaid. Maybe he's a little overrated compared to how the analytics look at him. Like, I'm allowing for all that. It's just the return was so bad, and it feels like it torpedoed the next 2 seasons. I hope I'm wrong. But if there's anyone out there that thinks the Celtics could win the championship as currently constituted this year or next year, I'd love to hear your rationale behind that. 617-779-0985. It's just disappointing that they gave up on not just trying to win again with Tatum and Brown, but feels like they made it really hard on Tatum himself to win in the next couple of years.
Well, I think it all comes back to the moment that Jason Tatum's Achilles ruptured. I think that was the moment where, you know, I wrote about it that night, saying this might be the end of the Celtics as we know it, because of the ramifications of losing him and ultimately losing that series. Now, you could say they were going to lose that series anyways, because when that injury happens, they're down in the game. They had already blown 2 20-point leads in that series, right? So you're kind of like, this probably isn't their series. But, you know, that happening not only accelerated the end, right, of Porzingis and Drew Holiday, because I think your point is a good one in terms of, like, if you come back in that series, and let's say you win a title, which, again, we don't know how that could have played out, but let's say you do. Now you're the first team to be a repeat. Now you're going to be the first team since, I think, the Lakers trying to three-peat. There's legacy. There's history. Right. The only thing that can make you okay with a big tax bill is we're going to be legends, man. That's what is important, right? And so once that injury happened, okay, well, now you're going to trade the guys, and then Brown gets a taste of being the guy, right? Which instead of being the 1A and the 1B, as they were alternating, I think, over time. And then you're kind of like, is this going to work when it comes back? And sure enough, it doesn't, right? And so it's so frustrating that it comes back to that. But, you know, I think, yeah, like, as we sit here now, I wish Portland was as in as we thought they were, right? I think it was Jay King wrote in The Athletic, I want to say, that Portland was never really in on him.
They were never enamored with him.
Right. And you had me sitting there going, man, you know, Scoot Henderson in one of those Milwaukee draft picks looks really good right now compared to what you got, ultimately. Yeah. And so there's that part of it. Yeah, it's just, I think it's kind of weird that the way that Brown is talked about in terms of, like, his value's too high, people don't like him, you know, like, but it does feel like there is some truth in that in terms of, like, what the trade return ultimately was, right? Like, I'd love to sit here and say, no, they're all wrong, right? Like, they don't realize how good Jaylen Brown is, but at the end of the day, it does feel like, earned or not, that reputation and that belief was there outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, and also part of that was I think Portland was one of the teams that wanted the Celtics to come down from their end of the offer. Like, not just that the Celtics didn't wait out for a better offer from another team. It sounded like they weren't coming down on their asking price, which is like, I don't know how much of that to believe at this point, considering what they ended up giving in on with the Sixers. Like, you go from a minimum of 4 first-round picks to just 2 first-round picks. And who knows what they're going to be. Like, the 2031 unprotected Sixers pick, like, the Sixers might just straight up be good that year. Who knows? Like, I don't know if that's going to even be a lottery pick.
See, I feel the opposite of that. I feel like that's right when Embiid could be aged out. But at the same time, though, I'm looking at that like, well, they have Maxey and Edgecombe, and those guys are pretty good right now.
Yeah, like
too.
how are they going to be a lottery team is what I'm saying. Like, might not be a championship contender, but are they going to be in the bottom half of the league? I don't know.
Unless they are now saying, well, we can't pay both those guys. You know, they're having the same kind of debate that we're having right now, where it's like, we can't tie up 70% of the cap in these guys, or 80% of the cap, whatever it may be, right? So I think their next move is going to be really interesting. And I say that about the Celtics in terms of like, not like, you know, the next 8th man off the bench you sign. I mean like the next big swing, right? Because they've kind of backed themselves into a corner here where they're telling you they're going to be players, right? And I think we're at the point now where what kind of owner is Bill Chisholm? Does he listen to the noise and does he let that dictate what he does, or is he going to trust the process, as, you know, to steal a line from the 76ers like he did yesterday, and he's going to let them do the slow build? I don't know if the slow build will actually work for this team because of where Tatum is and because of where Derek White is and because of, you know, like Mitchell Robinson's a win now kind of player. Like you don't sign him and be like, all right, that's part of a 5-year plan. Like, no, that's kind of a win now move, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Paul George goes without saying, right? Like, you tie up that money in that player at that age, like that's it. The optionality is nice, but what is the next move? What are they options, or do they melt in your hand, right? Like I think about the Rajon Rondo trade where the Celtics hold and hold and hold, and they trade Rondo and they get a 1st-round pick and a 2nd-round pick, and it ends up becoming Gershon Yabusele and Demetrius Jackson. And you're kind of like, well, should have traded Rondo 3 years earlier. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of ways this can go right now.
See, that I don't care about. I really don't care that much about the return on the trade at the end of the day, unless it's like as bad as it was for Paul George. It's like, look, winning is expensive. It's inefficient. Like, sometimes you got to overpay players, and you got to pay taxes, and you got to lose trades because you're just trying to get another player that's going to put you over the top. Like, you got to overpay for stuff. Like, winning comes at a cost. And I just think Bill Chisholm, to me, he represents the private equity. He represents 6th Street Partners, which, by the way, had to give him the extra money he needed to push the deal through. He's the majority owner on paper, but really, like, what do you think he really represents? Does he represent the fans in the city, or is he beholden to the billionaires that are really pulling the strings behind the scenes? Not to get a tinfoil hat on you, but I think I'm getting realistic when it comes to the private equity angle of it. I just, again, I'll believe it when I see it when it comes to the spending what it takes to win. Like, I just think it's going to be really hard for them to win another title, especially in the next 2-3 years, while staying under the tax and avoiding all the extra spending they can, because winning is expensive. And I think that's what a lot of people are having trouble wrapping their head around, which is that they look at, they listen to how GMs and owners sort of justify this stuff, how they're, you know, cutting costs and the CBA and all that. It almost feels like the CBA, like the owners implemented the CBA as a way to excuse themselves from overspending. Like, now they have a reason. It's like, well, you don't want to get into the first apron, and I get it, but who put it there? You're going to complain about the apron? So it's like, isn't that this is your F up. You did this.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also a perfect storm, and we can talk more about this on the other side, I know, but it's also a perfect storm because of where it is, right? Like, I think Boston fans feel a little betrayed by John Henry and the Boston Red Sox. And now they're looking at this going, this is happening to another team in the city now? Come on, man. Like, so I think naturally, you know, their backs are up a little bit because they're like, are you going to do this now with the Boston Celtics too? Because I don't love that idea, right? Like, no fan who's going to be paying $100 to see the Boston Celtics play, you know, the Memphis Grizzlies this December when it's 28 degrees out and it's freezing rain is going to say, well, I'm so happy we're paying these ticket prices because it's, you know, well, at least we're on the second apron here. Like no one's going to care about that, right? Like, so I feel like that's
stand out in the wind or else it blows me away.
So that's part of this too here. I think that naturally the hardcore hoop heads are going to tell us why this is a good move, and the analytics and the usage and the second apron. You don't want to have picks frozen. You don't want to be able to not add guys who get bought out, blah, 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 blah. The common basketball fan is going to be saying, well, no, I want a good team. And I feel like my team is worse today than it was yesterday. And I don't like that.
And especially this year and next year. Like, that's where I have a hard time getting on board. And this is going to be, I think they're probably going to be better than they were last year. Like, you basically swap in Tatum for Brown, right? And you add Mitchell Robinson, who they just signed off the street. You added Mike Conley, who I know he's not going to play a ton of minutes, but veteran guy, he can probably still play some good defense for you. Like, he'll add some value. Like, I think that then they were the 2 seed last year. So I think where it's definitely going too far is people saying they're going to be a play-in team, miss the playoffs. No. They are a playoff team.
So long as
as long as they have Tatum, and then they still have Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. Like, no. They're going to be good. I just don't think they're going to be at that next level to win a championship unless you get a renaissance season out of Paul George. You know,
I was going to say the biggest
program.
thing is availability here. The biggest thing is availability, and Tatum's a better playmaker. He's got a smoother handle, so he'll make the players around him better. Can Derek White knock down more shots than he did a year ago? Right? Can Paul George, who was a better three-point shooter than Jaylen Brown a year ago, be available for more than 37 games? I think it was last year for Philly. If those things happen, you're going to be a better team. However, the more ifs we add on, the less believable it is.
That's the thing.
That's a natural sort of rule that you have to have. The more ifs and qualifiers we put on, the more I'm like, are we operating reality here, or are we turning injuries off?
That's where I think you and I are operating in reality and stuff that has actually happened, where the other side is more arguing projections, expectations, if this happens, if. Like, that's where I think we win this argument. Overall tie. 617-779-0985. I do see a few on the line. Please hang in there. We're going to take just a real quick break. Then we're going to come right back. Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
98.5 The Sports Hub, Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson here with you until 11. Started off talking Celtics. We got a first call of the night here. Nick in the car. I want to get his perspective. He's got a perspective on the new Celtics ownership from someone who works in private equity. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, good. Thanks.
So, yeah, last year when I heard who was buying the company and what he represented, I was, pretty horrified. As a Celtics fan who actually likes them having a good team. And I just knew that the first thing they were going to be doing was cutting off any fat that was there. And, they got rid of the three big contracts now. At the same time, he's now going to be really pushing to get a new stadium or a new arena to generate revenue that way because they're paying too much to the, their landlord right now to make money.
Right.
So that's going to be something that they're really going to push for, and they're going to use it as a chip to eventually flip the team. The thing that makes me really nervous is that depending on how this year goes, it wouldn't shock me if Derek White's the next one to go, and they'll replace him with Peyton Pritchard's raise, I expect. The only other thing I wanted to say was when I heard optionality, I almost threw up, because it's one of those buzzwords that they hammer into us every day. So thanks for the time, guys. Have a good night.
All right, thanks, Nick. I love that perspective. I wasn't sure if he was going to call in and give us that honest perspective of I'm a fan and I'm horrified that private equities, or if he was going to be like, no, you don't understand. The optionality is the best process for moving forward. I did not want to hear that.
Isn't it so funny?
That was refreshing to hear that from a private equity guy.
It's so funny how every business and every different job title has that buzzword that makes the people in the building go, oh no. What's ours as writers? I gotta say, anything that's like we're trying to up the viral content. That tells me you don't understand how viral content works. You can't make viral content.
We need you to try to go viral. That's not how it works.
It's just not how it works. It's crazy to me. Every industry has that term, right?
Honestly, content. I feel
content's a terrifying
content.
word.
Devalues like movies today on Netflix are content. It's not like cinema.
Right.
Cinema is like a real movie.
Screen time's a big one too for me. We want more screen time. I want something that is readable and the audience doesn't go, my phone is on fire. Get rid of these pop-ups.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
I like reading when I read. I like reading physical books because it's just time not spent on a screen. It's just brutal. But yeah, no, that was great that Nick said that about the optionality. So now we know where Brad Stevens got that word from. He got it from a Zoom meeting with 20 guys from 6th Street. Optionality. They just kept hammering that into him. It's you need to say this at least 12 times. And then our algorithm will be pure. That's what it feels like happened. And so it's very frustrating. And the fact that anybody would think Bill Chisholm is in this to be, he's like, oh my God, the fan of me was so horrified at the Jalen Brown. We know what you guys are doing. You know what you guys. Nick knows what they're dogoing, and it's just that makes me even less confident that they're actually going to quote unquote spend what it takes, meaning spend into the tax, pay the repeater, or whatever. They're going to do what they can to get out of the repeater. I think it was Keith Smith earlier today. He does the cap math and all that. He has them just barely over the tax right now. That tells me they're going to get under the tax. Nick mentioned trading Derek White. They can trade Derek White for someone who makes, a $2 or $3 million less, and they'll get under the tax. I think that's the goal. I think that's the goal, to not just to set the repeater. I don't think they want to pay taxes. I don't think these billionaires are here to pay taxes. Is that a crazy opinion to have, Ty?
Society tells you no, that is not a crazy opinion to have. It's actually probably one of the more common opinions that people have now. Sometimes they just say it openly, I don't feel like doing that.
Yeah.
Nah, we're going to block that. Don't you worry.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders is the NBA commissioner right now.
Yeah.
We're going to tax the billionaires and the millionaires. All right. Not to get political. All right, 617-779-0985. Ty's going to give you a look at the headlines. We are going to take a big picture view of Boston and just a horrendous few months overall. Not just for the Celtics, but for everybody involved. But we're going to get the headlines here. We're going to come right back. No commercials. Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
From the Delaware Tiger Studios, this is Boston's home for sports. Touchdown! The flagship station of the Patriots, Bruins, the Celtics. WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5. 5 years of broadcasting. Sports Hub headlines.
The U.S. men's national team's World Cup dreams were crushed by Belgium on Monday night with a 4-1 loss. The loss obviously eliminates them from the tournament, which is in their own country. So double bummer there for the Americans. Elsewhere in the World Cup and in today's slate of action, Lionel Messi in Argentina came through with an insane second-half comeback against Egypt en route to a 3-2 win to punch their ticket to the quarterfinals. Switzerland, meanwhile, beat Colombia in penalty kicks 4-3 to advance to the group of 8 as well. And with the dust settled on the Jaylen Brown trade and the fallout of the press conference for Brad Stevens and Bill Chisholm on Monday, the Celtics made their signings of Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley Jr. official on Tuesday morning. And in case you're wondering, there's been a slight change for the Celtics with Ron Harper Jr.'s contract. The deal is actually a 4-year deal, not a 3-year deal as originally reported. The Red Sox, meanwhile, are in action right now against the Chicago White Sox. We should put that on TV so I know what's going on in that game, as much as I do love Gordon Ramsay. Peyton Tolley on the mound for the Red Sox in that one. In other Red Sox news, the Red Sox have officially activated Patrick Sandoval to the active roster for the first time since signing him back in December 2024. The Red Sox sent Alex Gamboa to Worcester, while pitcher Jack Anderson was designated for assignment in corresponding moves. Sports and Headlines are brought to you by Super Service Today. With all this rain, flooded basements can happen fast. Boy, let me tell you today, Matt. Does your sump pump need replacement? Super Service Today specializes in dry basement solutions, including high-performance sump pumps that keep your home dry. Probably shouldn't put a period there, guys. Contact Super Service Today for a free estimate and same-day service. Visit superservicetoday.com. I am Ty Anderson. Next check the headlines in half an hour.
Listen to it. Laugh at it. Get mad at it. Agree with it. Argue about it.
You got to turn the mic on,
Hi. I didn't know Ty's mic was on. I was asking him one last question before we went on. I look over, the red light's on. That was terrifying. Jesus.
Sorry.
Oh, you got another read there?
No, yeah. It says it's in secret code. I think I'm going to have to, take out my little decoder here and try to figure out what it says. Takes 3 minutes to edit something, guys. Nevertheless, here we are.
Yeah, but I mean, that requires being literate, I suppose. Lovely team we got there. At least we got someone there. We got
Sub pump you? What?
No disrespect to Super Service Today. They do a great job.
They do.
They're needed today.
I'm gonna have to call them tonight. I think.
I mean, they're needed today. This is crazy.
Walked out,
splashed like 8 people on the sidewalk.
Cats
on
have
purpose.
a rowboat right now.
Yeah. Like Pennywise is sitting in the drain waiting for people to just hop on by. You want a balloon, Georgie? All right. We're going to take a big picture view here in this segment of the Boston sports team, the Big Four, so to speak. It's been a rough offseason for, the Patriots. I don't know how exactly you would grade or judge their offseason. I thought they had a great offseason in terms of building their team. But the whole Mike Vrabel thing, I think it was hard to say that wasn't something of a distraction and affected them at the draft. So, they didn't have the best offseason when you weigh everything together. If you want to say that was zero-sum average offseason or whatever, they're better on the field. That's our only hope, I think, for a championship anyway in the next year or two. The Celtics, I think they had obviously a terrible end to their playoff run, and now I think it's a bad offseason with how this Jaylen Brown trade is going. Even though that they may be a better basketball team overall, I just don't think that individual move was worth it. I think that made them worse just individually, player for player, even though Brad tried to deny it. The Bruins, look, I think they overachieved in the regular season, so they got to the playoffs, which was good, and they did it, without having to give up on a lot of their long-term pieces. So they're kind of, playing both sides there. Obviously a disappointing playoff series, but at the end of the day, not surprising that they lost that series to the Sabres. Sabres were the better team, more talented team. And I don't know if the Bruins have had an awful offseason. We can get into that, Ty, for later in this program. I don't know exactly how bad their offseason is. Obviously it hasn't been, overly exciting. It's been underwhelming overall. And then the Red Sox, I think, are a distant fourth because they're just they're not, at least the other teams you could say are good. Like all the other teams are probably going to be pretty good, competitive. Red Sox are non-competitive. I know they've won 8 of 10 or whatever it is, but little to no hope that they're actually going to turn it around and actually be a contending team. So this begs the question, Ty, or you asked the question. I need you to ask it.
Yeah,
you had it.
I mean, I think given what we've seen from the new ownership of the Boston Celtics and what we know about John Henry, what we know about the Patriots, what we know about the Bruins, which team do you trust to win a championship the fastest? Now, I want to say this while acknowledging the Patriots are probably number one. They have the quarterback, and that's the most important position in sports, not just their league, but in sports.
Yep.
So let's exclude them from this conversation for right now, because I think we all agree. Skaz, would you agree they're number one right now in terms of like who we trust the most to get?
Yeah,
he gives a thumbs up.
The Celtics are the easy
it really
number
is.
one.
Who do you trust between the Bruins, the Celtics, and the Red Sox? And this is all encompassing. This isn't, well, I trust the coach, but I don't trust the GM. No. I need you to factor in all three: owner, decision maker, head coach. So basically every head of each department. Right? Your owner, your front office head, your head coach. Who do you trust the most to get you a championship next? Of the three. Of the Celtics, the Bruins, and the Red Sox.
Man, that is such a tough question. I feel like I'm going back and forth between all three right now. Do you have an answer? Do you have a pick?
I have an answer that might surprise you.
Okay.
The Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
The Boston Red Sox, if only because they have good pitching. Like, it looks like they have good pitching between Crochet, who I know has been hurt all year, but we saw what he did a year ago. Great pitcher. I really like Peyton Tolley. I like his attitude. I think he can be a really good pitcher.
Yeah.
Ronher Suarez has been good for them, right? So you got three pitchers right there. I know all three are lefties, but whatever. And John Henry does have FU money. And if you poke him enough, he tends to make a move like, I'm going to remind you how much money I have. Now, it's often an overcorrection. It's what he does. Like, you move on from Jason Bay, so you bring in Carl Crawford at double the price. You move on from John Lester, so you bring in David Price at more money. It's always an overcorrection. It's never just like, keep the guy. But he does like to remind you that he has that FU money and that he'll spend it when he wants to. And so, when I look at the Boston Red Sox and how they lose games and how they win games, they're a bat, maybe two away. You can get bats. You can get bats, MLB. You can find a guy, much like you did Alex Bregman, who can come in and completely change the look of an offense overnight. You got to keep that guy, so that's part of the challenge here as well. But I think when you look at the leagues, and you look at how, we might be entering the Wemby era of the NBA. The Knicks just won a championship. Philly looks good with Jaylen Brown added to their mix. I have no issue with the Celtics winning 55, 57 games in the regular season. They might do that. But will they get there when push comes to shove? I wonder. The Bruins, NHL, Stanley Cup playoffs, flip a coin. You're either out in 5 or you're going on a 4-round run, MLB, I feel like if you have the pitching, you have a chance. You have a chance if you have the pitching. And
I feel like they have the pitching, though, don't they? I know they have Crochet.
They have the pitching. They got to get some bats. Because if they get
that's
some
how
bats,
bad their offense were tied. They have the pitching, and they have no chance.
Right. But if you get the bats, you might be able to win a round, two. Next thing you know, you're in the World Series. Now, are you beating the Dodgers? No. But I feel like of the three pathways, the easiest one to trust is baseball right now because of just how easy it is to revitalize your team overnight. You can have one offseason where you're like, you know what? I'm sick of getting grief everywhere I go. I want 3 bats. Bring them in. We're going to have a 4-hitter, a 5-hitter, and a 7-hitter. Now Roman Anthony's healthy? All right, we're good. Like, it really might be that simple.
Yeah, I get it. I just think that is more describing, like, they have the easiest path to getting back to that championship contention, right? Like, I think the Celtics and Bruins have a much harder path. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure I trust John Henry and Craig Breslow more than, say, even Bill Chisholm or Brad Stevens, as bad as I hated the Jaylen Brown trade, or even the Jacobses and Don Sweeney, for that matter. Because, look, it feels like the Bruins are still far away from cup contention, and I didn't necessarily want them to spend because I think spending has gotten them in trouble. But at least we know they're going to spend. They're going to spend as much as the cap allows. Like, I know that they are at least trying. I think Don Sweeney and Cam Neely want to win the Stanley Cup. I think the mandate, not necessarily that's a mandate, but like the need to get into the playoffs every year and maintain that good playoff status sort of gets them in trouble, and that's how you end up with bad contracts. But I think at the end of the day, they are still trying to get back to that cup level. I'm just not sure the Red Sox have been trying to actually do that. I feel like they are more leaning into the idea that we want to be good and competitive. We don't want to overspend. We don't want to do any of that stuff. So that's why I have, while John Henry could do what you're saying, I don't trust him to actually do that. That's sort of where I stand. I feel like I'm still landing on the Celtics as far as who I trust the most. Because Brad Stevens, look, I think he's lost a lot of faith after the Jaylen Brown trade with a lot of fans. A lot of fans have supported the move, but I feel like he's turned off a lot. I feel like the novelty is kind of worn off with the way he makes moves. Like, he had a great first few years. This time it kind of showed his inexperience with the Jaylen Brown trade. He hadn't made a move of that big, of this magnitude, and the fact that he couldn't create a market or wait out for a better offer, I think he bungled that process. But I still have confidence in him putting together a championship team. I think he's drafted well. I think they could make a couple good draft picks. The picks they got could turn out to be good. Like, I don't know, did you give it a specific time frame of when they win a championship? Because I don't know if the Celtics could win in the next couple years.
No, but
I could see this plan sort of coming to fruition, 3 to 5 years down the road. And Ty, despite everything I've said about the Jaylen Brown trade, I am allowing for the possibility that does turn out to be sort of an addition by subtraction kind of move. Maybe Jaylen Brown was that difficult. He was getting in the way. He was clashing with Missoula. There was Jay King's report that they assumed the Celtics told him that he went off script in the playoffs. By the way, how was the script, by the way? Maybe he should have been going off script, is what I would say to that. But I don't know. Maybe everyone's more on the same page without Jaylen Brown there. Maybe they are actually better overall as a team. Now, I don't know that that's going to be good enough to get all the way to get far in the next couple of years, because I don't know if they have the talent to do that. But say they retool and they have the talent, and it's clearly all built around Tatum, and everyone's buying into the coaching, everyone's on the same page. I'm allowing for that possibility. I think it's remote that can, get them to the highest level in the next year or two. But I think for that reason, that's why I'm still landing on the Celtics as who I trust the most to actually win a title.
So this is an ambush. And so I'm putting you on the spot here. So you believe Bill Chisholm when he says that they will be players. The next guy out there, they will make that move.
No, I don't necessarily believe that. I believe in Brad Stevens' ability to work around that and build a championship team. I think this trade was a tough pill to swallow, but he talks about optionality and he talks about flexibility. I trust him to make the moves to find the value and make the moves that they can put together a championship team on Tatum, because I feel like the whole NBA is sort of going in this direction, Ty. I think everybody is going to have at most one supermax deal. The Sixers are kind of an outlier right now. Most teams are building around that one supermax player, and then you put an all-star behind him maybe. You put a guy making close to max money, and then you fill it out with depth, and I feel like that's sort of the model right now. Not to say that's the only way to win. I feel like teams that are going to win in the next few years are going to be those outliers like the Sixers. Maybe the Spurs can break through, but then once they got to pay Victor Wembanyama $100 million a year, and then they can't afford Dylan Harper anymore, like they're probably going to go down the same path as the Celtics. So I think you all things considered, all things even, everyone's doing sort of the things that Bill Chisholm's talking about and private equity and all that. I still have faith in Brad Stevens and Jason Tatum and Joe Mazzulla to do what they can to get better and win. Maybe not Joe Mazzulla, but Brad Stevens and Jason Tatum, I would say.
Well, I feel like that's sort of, this is the problem with that the NBA CBA is that you basically start a doomsday clock on your own team the second you hand out more than one big contract. Look at the Orlando Magic. They're currently in the middle of it, right? They bring in Desmond Bane. They hand out some big contracts along the way. And now you're kind of like, all right, well, you got 2 years before you have to blow it up and strip it back down. So what's the plan here, right? Like Detroit is probably heading that way too. You heard some of the rumors with Chet Holmgren this year in OKC, so maybe they're there as well in terms of, all right, now we got to move some guys out. It turns out having 38 first-round picks is over an 8-year span might not be the best move for us long term.
They drafted too well, I think.
Yeah, they really did. But you sort of that doomsday clock, like that's where, like, so I think the Celtics are currently in the final year of that, or you've heard Scal talk about it, right? The slingshot. They're going to slingshot back into making those big moves. I think to execute what we're talking about here, you need Bill and the rest of the owners to say, You know what? Yeah, we're going to make that big move. I don't know what that big move is. I don't know who that player is, but it does feel like that's going to require them to make that move to be what you're talking about, to be the team that you trust the most to win a championship next. I think for as good as Brad Stevens is, and Joe Mazzulla can scheme up, shooting 53s a game and winning that way if you bring in the right personnel in conjunction with Brad, I think you're going to need that buy-in from ownership. And I'm still waiting for them to put their stamp on what they are as a group right now. And so that's where I say that I trust the Red Sox more, as weird as that sounds, because I think Henry is more prone to overcorrection, whereas Bill Chisholm said yesterday, we got to trust the process, which is like, I don't know what your process is, man. I'm still figuring that out. Who are you? What are you doing?
I'm scared of the process. I think it was Bart the other day said they traded Jaylen Brown for the process. I'm not into that idea. 617-779-0985. We are going to dive a little more into the Bruins going forward because we are a couple hockey guys. Ty is our resident Bruins insider. We have not done a podcast since they made all their big offseason moves, I don't think. So we're going to get into that. If you want to call in and talk about that, that's great. If you want to call in and talk about Celtics, we are not in the business of turning away callers.
You want to talk about how the Red Sox are hitting 2 home runs in the first inning? We can talk about that.
There you go. Peyton Tolley on the mound. If you want to talk about what we just talked about, okay, who do you trust the most to win a championship in the next
besides the Patriots?
Besides the Patriots, because they're an obvious one.
It's an easy answer.
The other 3 clown operations. Who do you expect? Who do you think has the best chance of actually winning a championship?
Hey, look, a balloon.
All right. We'll be right back. Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. More Joe.
A little bit last year. His 5-on-5 production has been really good. Plays both wings. Can probably play with a couple different types of centers. Help drive a line, but also complement the better guys. In situations that we're certainly trying to improve. As we said repeatedly, we've acknowledged that we're a competitive group, and our guys did a really, really good job last year, but we are trying to get deeper and add speed. Marco's talked about the forecheck side of things, and adding speed is an element that we felt we needed to continue to address internally with some of the younger players, and externally if we could identify them.
.98.5 The Sports Hub, Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson. We got you until 11 o'clock. That was, of course, Bruins GM Don Sweeney talking about J.J. Peterka, who is the Bruins' big offseason acquisition so far. I say so far, but I get the sense that this is going to be their big move. It would be great if they had something even bigger.
They're still
in the
working.
offing, Ty.
They're still working. I don't know if it's gonna be bigger than that, but I think they acknowledge. Sorry to interrupt. I was gonna
tee you up and say, like, is this their big move, or what are you hearing? What do you think? What's your vibe? Do you think they're actually working on like something big or something at least similar to add to the team?
I mean, they're incomplete right now, right? I mean, you got 10 defensemen on your roster. You can't play that many, and you can't carry that many unless you want to run a forward short on your NHL roster. Like you can't do that, right?
Right, every night.
Something's got to give there,
yeah.
And so I think they're incomplete. I think they're still trying to make something happen. I do look at Seattle. Seattle's looking to trade Shane Wright, former top 10 pick, top 5 pick. Had I want to say 20 goals a year ago. It just hasn't really worked out in Seattle.
And didn't he want to get drafted by Montreal? And
no, he stared them down.
He stared them down because they didn't draft him.
Right, which looking like the right pick for them.
That's a good way to stick it to Montreal if he comes over here, But
like you might make a move like that. Right, like, and I think you have some guys that are redundancies on this roster. I don't think you bring in Peterka and still want to play Casey Middlestad on your second line. I don't think you bring in Peterka and say we're going to bring in Peterka and we're gonna still put Alex Steeves on the third line. Like, no, like everyone's going to move around a little bit, right? And I look at the D, right? Like you bring in Clifton and you bring in Borgen. Where did Mason Lohrei play most of last year? The right side. Okay, well now he doesn't have a home there.
Yeah.
And then I look at what you have with Yoki Haru. What do you do there, right? Like I look at Jonathan Aspero, who was a good story for you a year ago. Now probably a 7th D on this team. So like it's about clearing out redundancies that roadblock guys or just kind of no longer serve the purpose, right, that they did a year ago. And I think they made one of those moves already. They got rid of Korpisalo to make room for DiPietro.
Yep, that was a good move.
I asked Don Sweeney, like, what made that decision for you? And he basically said, like, we got to give DiPietro a look. We're never going to know if we don't give him a real look. He's been great in the AHL. We think he can be good here. But we're never going to know either way if we don't actually give him a chance here. I wonder if they look at that up front with like Freddie Brunet in front of the goalie. I mean, Freddie Brunet on the back end, or James Hagen's on. Like, how are we gonna know if James Hagens can be on the power play if he's never on the power play because you're putting Victor Arvidsson and Casey Middlestad on the power play? Arvidsson's now gone. Middlestad is still here. You know what I mean? Like there are things here that you have to kind of clear out of the way so you can find out what you have with certain guys. And I think Minton's a player that comes to mind for them there. I think Husadinov is a player that comes to mind for them there, along with Hagens. So, like, they still have to clear out some more money, and that's why I think they're going to make another move here. It's just a matter of, is it as big as Peterka? I would imagine no, but I do think they look at their roster right now as incomplete.
617-779-0985. We were talking last break about which team we think is closest, or which team we trust the most to put together a championship roster. I guess that's maybe the same thing as closest to winning. Chris in Boston has a thought on that. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Thanks for taking the call.
Good. Thanks.
I think if you're looking at the three teams outside of the Patriots, you're going to look at star power. And as much as I think he's overrated, Jason Tatum is a top 10 player in the NBA. and he gives you a chance to win a championship the closest. The Red Sox don't have a superstar. The Bruins don't have a superstar. At least the Celtics have a superstar, top 10 talent. I think he's someone that can help them win a championship in the next 3 to 5 years over the Red Sox or the Bruins.
All right, thanks, Chris. Yeah, but this, like, to your point, like, the Red Sox could just go buy a superstar player overnight if they wanted to.
Yeah,
so it just comes down to whether they want to spend the money or not, or take the plunge.
We also might. The Red Sox might be now that I think about it. The Red Sox might be a bad pick by yours truly here because of the lockout. We're gonna lose a year.
Yeah,
we're gonna lose a year.
Let's pretend they're gonna play baseball next year. You know, for the sake of this conversation. But that back to his point about the Celtics. Like, if you want to boil it down to the star player, the elite player, then Jason Tatum is that guy. He's one of those elite players. And I think he's a better all around player than Jaylen Brown. Question though, Ty. Is he? Do you really trust Jason Tatum to be the SGA, Jokic, Giannis, Curry, even Jalen Brunson of a championship run? Because he hasn't been that guy yet. Unless someone thinks that he was actually better than Jaylen Brown was in that 2024 championship run. And I'll allow for the argument that Jaylen Brown was good because he had Tatum, and he was opening up space for him and all that. But Jason Tatum, he's not that he's never had a big game in the playoffs. I know someone, did you see the game in 2022 in the second round? No, I get it. He's had some big playoff performances. His 2 NBA Finals series have been underwhelming. And I think generally, not even just him, but Mazzulla, this whole Celtics team, close, late, fourth quarter, it comes down to the last few possessions. You got to execute and come through. I don't fully trust Jason Tatum in those moments. I don't fully trust the Celtics. And, that's not to say get rid of him. And I guess, who cares at this point? He's the guy. Now he has to come through. Maybe Jaylen Brown was getting so much in the way that now Jason Tatum is going to flourish and he's going to be that guy. But I don't know. How do you feel about Jason Tatum as, the guy that's going to be the finals MVP and shepherd the Celtics to a title?
It's hard to say because I think he's had such wild contrasting performances, right? He basically, before the Achilles blew, he was willing his way. He was trying to will that team to a win at MSG. And I thought he looked great in that game. I thought he was on another level before it happened. And they had a chance in that game because of Jason Tatum. I go back to that Game 7 against Philadelphia where he was electric for the whole game. And then, you kind of look at other games, right? You look at 2022 Game 6 against the Warriors where he misses 12 of 18 shots in the series clinching loss.
It's hit or miss. That's the thing.
And so he's not a killer, right? And so can you develop that skill over time? Is it do you have it or you don't, or can you just kind of go through experiences where you're the guy now and it's going to pay off? I remember every time that Paul Pierce made a big clutch shot late. I don't remember all the times he missed him, which I'm sure there's been plenty, right? But by the time that the Celtics won a championship, you felt really confident in Paul Pierce, right? And so I think it's part of the process, and this is the one good thing I think you can say about the Celtics moving on from Jaylen Brown is that it does create a situation and an environment where Jason Tatum is the uncontested number one on this team. He's Batman, no Robin. This is his team now, right? And so he's going to have
a bunch of Joker henchmen that he just beats the crap out of in the
basically,
first scene.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of is, right? And so I do feel like that will tell us something about him and whether he's always had this in him or he was too, deferential because of the talent around him. But I think we're going to find out one way or the other, which I'm game for. I just hope it's not okay. You give him that run. He's not that guy. And then it's, you got to look at the defense. Well, no one else is open. It's nope. This is it now. This is how it is now.
Nope. It's all on Tatum. This is Tatum's team.
This is Tatum's the environment they've created.
Especially the next 2 years. It's really all on Jason Tatum. A lot of pressure on him. Hopefully he can handle it. 617-779-0985. Ty's going to give you a look at the headlines. Then we're going to take a break and come back. Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
As you probably already found out, the U.S. Men's National Team's World Cup run ended Monday night with a 4-1 loss to Belgium. The USA has still yet to advance out of the round of 16 since, I don't even know when. I feel like this is where they always go. They beat Mexico in like 2002, I want to say, but they haven't been back there. Yeah, it's been a long time. So anyway, elsewhere in the World Cup, Lionel Messi in Argentina had a epic second-half comeback against Egypt today, en route to a 3-2 win to punch their ticket to the quarterfinals. Switzerland, meanwhile, beat Colombia in penalty kicks 4-3 to advance to the group of 8. And with the dust settled on the Jaylen Brown trade, the Celtics made their signings official today, inking Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley Jr. to contracts. The Celtics also announced, it came through, that Ron Harper Jr.'s deal is actually a 4-year deal, not a 3-year deal, as first reported. The Red Sox, meanwhile, are currently up 3-0 on the White Sox out in Chicago. A couple of home runs there, including a 2-run shot by Cedon Rafaela. In other Red Sox news, the Red Sox have also activated Patrick Sandoval to the active roster for the first time since signing him back in 2024. Sports Headlines brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I am Ty Anderson. Next check on the headlines in half an hour.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on
The Sports Hub, Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson got you until 11 o'clock, filling in for the Joe Show. Ty, I want to circle back to the Bruins conversation. I think that there's some people in the YouTube live chat that are excited. I saw some people were saying some of your roller hockey pals are in the live chat with us.
Nice.
They're saying you were scary. You were a tough and scary player. Something like that. Don't quote me on that.
Dirty. Unfortunately,
Dirty.
I used to be
rat.
dirty. Yeah, I didn't like that part of me.
See, you're built. You're like compact, but I think you got mass, and I think you know how to use it. And so I could picture like a 6'5" guy lining you up, like I'm gonna bowl this guy over, and he just bounces off you.
Yeah,
and then you hit him in the nuts because you're dirty.
Yeah, I once broke a goalie's sternum, and I felt really bad about it.
What, did you spear him?
No, I got pushed into him. I was on a breakaway and I got pushed into him. So I guess
so it was accidental.
It was accidental, but to your point, being small but kind of thick.
Right, yeah. Fire hydrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did one time this was funny. We were doing a charity tournament and I went to the front of the net in the power play and you see me coming in the front of the net, you're like, "Oh, I'm going to move him." This guy tried to move me, and I just hear him going, "Oh, Jesus." They couldn't get under me and move me. So, yeah.
It's like you look at something that looks like it's made of plastic or something, and all of a sudden you can't pick it up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my God.
Right, yeah.
I'm more mass than I was expecting.
I'm a trick dollar bill. I got poop on the bottom of me. Great.
Jesus Christ. So let's try to circle back to the Bruins. Like you mentioned, getting rid of redundancies. So, you look at guys like Casey Middlestat, Mason Lowry, it's at least those two. Like you mentioned, Will Borgen, who they traded for. That's a guy that I've been a kind of player that I've been talking about, and we can quibble about the individual player here, but that's a guy that I think fits for what Marco Sturm wants, and so I think he would be a better fit next to a guy like Hampus Lindholm, assuming you're rolling back out with that pair over a guy like Mason Lowry, who I think was admirable. Playing, on his offside, playing on the right side as a left shot defenseman, but really not a fit for what Sturm wants to do, especially defensively. I don't think it's fit for organizationally what they want, and I think he's pretty close to being is what he is. Maybe if he can improve marginally on defense, still think he's going to be average at best in his own end, and a guy that he has to be making an impact offensively to really give you value. So that's a guy that I would understand them trading away for that redundancy, putting a guy like Will Borgen, and you're probably better defensively just for having a better fit for what they want to do. But how are they going to do that? Are they going to package all these guys together? You think they could possibly package Lowry, Middlestat, and name someone else that you were mentioning earlier, and get an impact player? I just don't know how realistic that is. Or do you think they could just trade those guys off for draft picks, maybe dump them? I see all these contracts that defensemen are getting. Maybe Mason Lowry is an attractive option just for being cheap. Henry Jokiharju also, for that matter. Mm-hmm. Making only $3 million.
The question is,
how do you go about getting rid of all those redundancies when you're talking about 3, 4, 5 guys off the roster?
I mean, the question is, are they so valuable that they're more valuable to you than to another team in a trade, right? If you look at it and say, well, we're getting rid of a $3 million defenseman that had a plus 17 a year ago. I'd rather keep that guy and see if there's something else there. I think what's interesting about this offseason so far, Matt, and you mentioned Will Borgen, they also bring back Connor Clifton. Last year, Marco Sturm had to build his system with the pieces that he had. This time around, there's more, we're going to build players that fit, we're going to sign players that fit my system, right? And so for that reason, they earn the benefit of the doubt in terms of okay, now it's not just Sturm having to mold these guys to fit.
Be something they're not.
Right. It's more okay, he knows that Borgen can do something that Lowry, Jokiharju, and Peak before him, couldn't. So that's why they brought him in here. Now, I think when you look at Clifton, you look at Borgen, and you look at Harris, what do all three have in common? They can skate well. I do wonder if there's an element here with Sturm and new defensive assistant coach Matt McIlvain that they want smoother skating defensemen. And does that benefit a guy like Jokiharju or Lowry, to stick around beyond this year? But again, something has to give, right? And so I still think that you're better off parlaying these guys in a hockey trade. I think the amount of teams you can dump players off on is kind of few and far between. Like I bet Vancouver would take a flyer on Middlestad because he's a pending UFA, he's an expiring contract. You can pump and dump him, which is what what they might have to do. But what are you getting in return, right? And so I think there's an element here of the Bruins. They want to hedge their bets. I think they're aware that they could be a big regression team. It's potentially possible they're a regression candidate in terms of look at the guys that shot well above their weight. Does that come back down next year? You're going to have to wait and see. But, if you're dumping guys off that have 1 or 2 years left on their contract, you might be robbing future you of good trade capital if you're a seller, right? And so this, again, comes back to something I've mentioned before where the Bruins are basically trying to appease two masters at the same time. They want to develop and they also want to win now. I will say this about Borgen. I don't hate that trade. I don't hate that trade, if only because he can skate. And I do think that if you can maybe ease back a little bit on how much time he's spending in the defensive zone, you might get something out of him. He had 25 points with the Kraken a few years ago. That's not horrible for his deployment, right? So if you can tweak him here and there, if you can bring those skating legs to Boston that he had in New York and Seattle, you might have a pretty decent find here at only $4 million a year.
But he's physical too. Like he's not afraid to stick his nose in there. Like that to me is the real important part, is that he's not afraid to stick his nose in the traffic areas and get physical with guys and bring that sort of element. But I do, it's tough to do that while being slow, especially in this age of a speed and skill. All right, let's go to Carlo in Arlington. He's got a question for Ty about the Bruins. Go ahead, Carlo.
Yeah, hi guys. Appreciate you taking the call.
Sure.
And Ty, I miss your show on Saturdays. Looking forward to having you come back soon.
Sports Hub Underground.
No.
But one of the prior callers kind of annoyed me a little bit, talking about how the team with star power. If you're looking to figure out who's got the best chance of a title, the team with star power is the Celtics. For me, Pasternak is a higher rated player in the NHL than Tatum is in the NBA. And it sort of comes back to a question I have for you, Ty, which is, have the Bruins done enough for Pasta in this offseason, given that he's in his prime and it won't last forever? And I guess the second part of the question is, and it relates to the guy's comment, why does this guy not kind of catch on in the Boston market in the way that he should? Why doesn't he have the C? Why isn't the organization aggressively building around him? Like, I guess I just want to know. For me, he's the best guy I've seen in my lifetime other than Bork. And so, like, I don't know why that's not happening. And I'm curious if there's something behind the scenes that I'm missing.
All right, thanks, Carl. Quickly, great point. The last guy said that Bruins don't have a superstar. Pasternak's not a superstar?
Right. Yeah, they have.
I think I'd put him in that category. Top 10 offensive player in the league, anyway.
Well, yeah, I think he's top 10 offensive player, top 5 right winger in hockey.
Right. Top 5 like goal scorer.
I think the only wingers that I would take above him are probably Kucherov. I mean, if we're keeping to the right side, it's Kucherov and maybe Marty Necas. But I think that's more of a toss up than we acknowledge. But yeah,
putting a real team around him to try to push forward and get him to a cup, like. How realistic is that?
I think they tried as best they could in terms of signing Elias Lindholm. I don't think they thought his back was going to be cursed and he was going to be terrible. But they got him with the intention of Pasternak, having a strong center that can help him out and get him the puck. And it hasn't worked out that way, right? And so I do agree, though, that I think we're nearing a point here where they're going to have to show serious improvement to avoid Pasternak saying, I'm 32. I haven't been to the Cup since 2019. I don't think I can do it here. I gotta go. I gotta go somewhere else. Like if I were the Bruins, his comment after they lost Game 6 would sound every alarm in my head when he says, "Yeah, I want to get back. I'm 30."
Yeah, that was
30 years
concerning.
old. When I heard that in the scrum, I went, "Uh-oh." I felt like the red light has been sounded, meltdown coming. Like I'm like, that's not good. Right. I don't want to hear that.
Threat level orange, it's been increased. No,
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like my concern with that time, my issue with the whole notion, they're not one player away, and I just
they're
think
4.
I think building a real cup contender for Pasternak within the next 2-3 years. Like, I think the guys that are coming up have to be part of that. You can't trade James Higgins, Dean Letourneau, whoever, all your first-round picks for one guy and think that's going to make you a Stanley Cup team. You know, I feel like they could trade for freaking Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, and they'll obviously be a lot better. But are they actually a Stanley Cup team? I think they'd still be a few pieces short there. And so that's the tricky spot that they're in. And unfortunately, like I don't know that the window's totally closed, but they're just not in a position to go all in to win one for Pasta. Like they did not in that position. I feel like they have to be a little more patient. I think Pasternak has to be a little more patient for this next year or two anyway. And Don Sweeney was talking about, like, we got to give a guy like Michael DiPietro an opportunity to play, to find out what we have. Like, that feels like a change. Like, it feels like most of the time when they're talking about guys coming up, they're saying, well, they'll have an opportunity to compete for a spot, but we also need them to play the right way and all that stuff. Now it feels like, well, no, now we kind of have no choice. Now we kind of have to play these guys. I feel like, especially if they want to remain competitive as they were last year, if not better, they got to put James Higgins right in there, top 6 role, and he's going to come through and give them, call it 60 points. I'm not saying he's going to be a stud out of the gate, but if he's going to be a high-end offensive player, you think he can give you 60 points in his first full season, right? Not a perfect player, but I feel like the young guys have to be part of the equation if they really want to get back to that top level.
Yeah, and I think relating it to Pasternak and to Carlos' point, I do feel like you got to make him the captain. I think the captaincy buys you time in terms of a trade request. Rarely, if ever, will a guy be made captain and then less than a year later go, all right, I want to be traded now. Like, that's just kind of that's not what a captain does, right? And I think also, I think you have to give him either Higgins or Minton. He likes both those players. He likes playing with both those players. Now, if you begin the year by putting Pasternak with Zacha and Peterka, I think he's probably smiling, saying, oh, cool, I got Peterka. Speedy guy, thinks the game offensively like I do. This will work. But does it also get the juices flowing? I think Higgins or Minton would let him go, ooh, I see it. This kid's good. I want to play with him. I think he's going to make me a better player. I'm gonna have more success playing with this guy. You know what I mean? Like, so you got to show him the vision, right? It can't be just on the roster. I think he's got to play with those guys. And so that's, to your point, something else they should do this year.
So you think Higgins, Pasternak should be the line, or call it geeky Higgins, Pasternak, or Minton?
I think it's got to be. So my projected top line, or what I would want my top line to be, is either geeky Minton, Pasternak, or Higgins, Zacha, Pasternak. That's what I want. I want to give him either one of those younger players. Now, I think if you did Higgins, Minton, Pasternak, while fun,
it's a little too young.
Would be a little too young for Marco Sturm's liking.
I think Higgins, Zacha, Pasternak would be kind of stacking it a little too much, a little too top heavy.
Yep,
which is a scary thought. A 20-year-old rookie is too top heavy.
I would say that, and you look at it how like. So let's say we do it.
I like the Higgins Zacha idea, by the way.
So let's see. Let's assume that it's going to be geeky Minton Pasternak. Your second line is going to be, in my world, would be Higgins, Zacha, Peterka.
That I like.
Defensively, they'd be an adventure. But again, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to do it.
But that's assuming Pavel Zacha continue. He kind of improved his two-way game over the last couple of years, I think.
Oh, yeah, he's
going to have to be sort of that protector for a guy like Higgins and Peterka.
He got a Selke vote this past year.
So it wasn't by me. Right, you got to think that like Zacha can be the guy that sort of stays at home in the defensive end and gets that breakout pass to a Higgins or a Peterka, and they're off to the races. Like, that, to me, is the vision for that line offensively, and for that matter, defensively, transition, whatever. But yeah, I think Geeky and Pasternak played too well together to really break that up right now. So yeah, it feels like Minton, who I really like. I think Minton could be a core guy for you going forward. Dark horse candidate for like the long-term captain, like after the Pasternak era is gone. So I really like him, but like that to me is preferable to trading all these young guys for a veteran guy who's again, he's going to cost you way more money too, and like the money is more of a factor in the NHL than any other league because of the hard cap and the limited options you have after you sign those deals to get out of it. But yeah, I think the way you laid it out is probably the best way to go. All right, 617-7790-985. We got to take a break here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk more Boston sports here. Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub.
Discover the power of multi-platform advertising. Trusted.
U.S. goalkeeper Matt Freese to make it 3-1, and then a 4-1 goal for good measure at the end of the game. Just an ugly loss. Elsewhere in the World Cup and in today's slate of action, Lionel Messi and Argentina came through with an epic second-half comeback to beat Egypt by a 3-2 final and to punch their ticket to the quarterfinal. Switzerland, meanwhile, beat Colombia in penalty kicks 4-3 to advance to the group of 8. And with the dust settled on the Jaylen Brown trade, the Celtics made their signings of Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley Jr. official on Tuesday. The Celtics, also, the deal for Ron Harper Jr. is a 4-year deal, not a 3-year deal, as originally reported. The Red Sox, meanwhile, are currently up on the White Sox. Someone just got hit by a pitch. Ow! Anyway, they're winning. Peyton Tully's on the mound. They also activated Patrick Sandoval to the active roster and sent Alex Gamboa down to AAA Worcester in a corresponding move. Sports Up Headlines brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, keeping drains flowing for homes and businesses in the greater Boston area since 1976. Go to johnsewer.com. I am Ty Anderson. Next check headlines in half an hour.
Diving effort. But he's got a breakaway. Throws to the backhand. Throws it in. Draw coming to the slot. The Sports Hub.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed.
What's it gonna be, McFly?
Matt Dolloff filling in for Joe Murray and paying tribute to one of his fine catchphrases here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We're going to do in or out here. I was hoping we get to do this. I like the segment. It's always appointment listening whenever I am in my car or whatever. I have access to the stream or I have an opportunity to listen. I like to hear Joe do his in and out, so I am happy to participate this in myself. Skaz, quick, before we get into it, that song at the beginning, what's that from?
That is from Aladdin, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
I always think that legit sounds like Joe.
A little bit.
It sounds kind of like Joe is singing that song. That's what I love about that part. All right, in or out, let's get this started here.
All right, gentlemen, welcome. Tuesday, July 7th already, edition of In or Out. Let's start at the movies today. Why not? Sacha Baron Cohen has wrapped production on a secret new Ali G movie, which will bring his sketch comedy character back to the big screen for the first time since 2002. Are we in or out on a new Ali G movie?
I'm out on it at this point. In this, I would have been in on it maybe 20 years ago. I feel like now it's just so hard to play a character like that. You know what I mean? He can fool old people who aren't on the internet, right? So maybe he could fool a few more old people, but people know what he is by now, right? Borat, Ali G. How's he going to fool anybody into playing the character? That's why I feel like it's watered down. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out because of just, I don't know how bad Borat 2 was, where you just couldn't do it anymore.
There was a Borat 2?
It's so bad. That came out during COVID. And I was like, well, I'll try it. I had to tap out 48 minutes. I'm like, this is terrible. I can't do this. It's kind of like how the Eric Andre show is done because he can't do it anymore. He's too well known. He had a prank show on ABC. He's in movies now. He hit the point where he had to shave his head and his eyebrows and just look like a different person entirely because he couldn't do it anymore. Yeah. Even in New York City, they're oh, it's Eric Andre.
Right. The novelty wears off with this stuff. I think is the issue. So it's you're still doing Ali G 25 years in. That's kind of weird to me. I know this is not about Eric Andre, but one of the funnier things was Hannibal Buress left the Eric Andre show. And they asked him, why are you doing that? And he's like, man, I gotta grow up. He's like, I can't be doing this anymore. It's everyone hits that point, I can't be doing this anymore. Sacha Baron Cohen has not hit that point yet, apparently. And against all infinite wisdom that he should, probably. Yeah. He was funny in Make a new character. Make a new character. Right. I mean, you have a bit that works, so you kind of hammer it over and over again as long as you can. Right. Which is why we still have Ali G, and he's not making up a new character. Right. So. I think the only reason there's an Ali G movie is because that's the least relevant in terms of the social zeitgeist, where people know Borat still, and they know Bruno still because of clips from that movie that have stood the test of time. Ali G, though, is he does interviews, so it's so he's going to interview a politician. Right. Just to ask them ridiculous questions. Oh, he really got Susan Collins. I'm like, yeah, well, she's 70. Right. Dianne Feinstein. Could she even speak? I'm not that impressed anymore at this point. All right, what's next?
All right, we'll stick with the movie theme. Not quite the return of Ali G, but a fourth installment of an old franchise. Harold and Kumar 4 announced it will begin filming soon. John Cho and Cal Penn are set to return. Are we in or out on Harold and Kumar 4?
I'm in on this one. I loved the first 2 Harold and Kumar movies. I'm not sure I'd like them as much if I watched them now because I was, in like college high school, college. When I first watched those, right up my alley. I don't know if the third one was like a Christmas movie, right? Harold and Kumar Save Christmas or whatever
the Neil
it is.
Patrick Harris one?
That was the first one.
Okay, that one I liked.
That one was good. I really liked the second one. I'm not sure you could make a Harold and Kumar 2 today. There was a lot of racial humor in that, and I think people would be. But a lot of the joke was like the Rob Corddry character was just this unbelievably ignorant racist guy. That was sort of the joke. But I don't think people would be able to handle that these days. But Harold Kumar 2 to me was hilarious. I'll probably check out the fourth one. What do you think, Ty?
I am out because I've missed the boat on this entire franchise. I have not seen a single one of them. I feel like it missed me, and now if I jumped in, I'd be like, eh.
I'm not sure you would get, stoner humor.
No, I definitely wouldn't.
Being not even close to a stoner.
Yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't. No. And that's fair. That's fine. There are some franchises or some shows, whatever, that you just miss, right? And then you try to jump in years later, and you're like, okay, that's whatever. The only one that I would say that I jumped into late and held up in terms of like capturing me despite knowing how it all ended was The Sopranos. That was the last show that, when it was on, I was too young to watch it. But when I got HBO Max and was able to watch it start to finish, I was like, damn, this is a good show. This writing holds up.
Sopranos is undeniable.
What
acting and writing is it's top quality even today.
You know what show's writing is terrible? I'm on a rewatch of it right now. Rescue Me. That show gets worse as it goes on.
That's a show I missed, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not aging well either, I would say. There's that, too.
I think Mad Men might be the show I'd pick that I sort of missed it, but like I've always wanted to sort of watch it. Everyone loved it.
Yeah.
I think that's like Fred Toucher's favorite show or one of them.
Tried, couldn't
but I
do it.
couldn't. Yeah, I gotta give it another chance maybe. All right, what's next?
All right, Jen, well, you mentioned The Sopranos. The creator of The Sopranos, David Chase, has announced he's developing a new feature and HBO limited series about MK Ultra and the CIA's weaponization of LSD. Are we in or out on a David Chase limited series about LSD and the CIA?
In on anything David Chase makes, based on the Sopranos conversation. And MK Ultra, that's not like a fake conspiracy theory. That's actually one of the ones that are true. So it's not dealing with fake stuff. It's dealing with actual, documented things. So I'm in on that. I think that has a chance to be really good.
Yeah, I'm in on that. I think that HBO does a good job with their limited series, and their whatever it is, a 4 or 5 episode kind of mini series.
Yeah, the Chernobyl one, and even the Penguin.
I think they do a good job with those. Yeah, so I'd be in on that. We'll see. I'll give it a few episodes and we'll see how it goes from there. It's just get right to it though. Don't make me drag on for 190 minutes before it gets good. Like I got to be hooked right away nowadays.
See, my hope for it is that David Chase. The Sopranos happened because David Chase was kind of like an iconoclast, where this was unlike anything anybody had ever seen on television before. And so I don't know that he's going to get to that level with this show coming up, but I have faith that he's not just going to be cookie cutter going down the exact same path that all these other streaming shows are and trying to serve the. Hopefully he has the freedom and he actually, takes risks and does something a little different. I have faith in him. So I am totally in on that. All right, what's next?
All right, wouldn't be a Joe show in or out without some food, so we will head over to our friends at Reese's for this next one. New Reese's Sundae Cups are heading to grocery stores and chains nationwide. They are Reese's Sundae Cups featuring Reese's ice cream and peanut butter and chocolate swirls topped and filled with Reese's Pieces Minis. Are we in or out on Reese's Sundae's peanut butter cup ice cream?
Out. And this is someone who thinks Reese's is the GOAT candy. It's my favorite candy. If I would only pick one candy the rest of my life, I'm eating Reese's peanut butter cups. But I kind of stop at the peanut butter cups and the miniature ones. I'm not going down any other Reese's road, even though they got all these other products out there. Reese's Pieces is fine, I guess, but I'm not investing in Reese's ice cream. Part of that might be because I'm scared I'll like it too much. Yeah. But I'm out on anything beyond just the peanut butter cups, personally.
You got the eggs, you got the pumpkins, you got the trees, and you got the cups. What more do you need, right?
Yeah, the trees and the eggs.
The fast break is great Can we talk about that? The fast break is an elite treat. But no, I'm out on this one. I think, Icarus, you flew too close to the sun. Just do what you do well. I mean, it's going to sell 1 billion of them, so who cares at the end of the day? But I will say this. I do miss the Friendlies. Friendlies used to have the Cyclone, later rebranded as the Frenzy.
What's that?
It was like they'd put ice cream and they add toppings and they whip it up. And, you make it just this absolute nightmare of a mess. But they used to have a Reese's Cup Frenzy. Now, that is the GOAT ice cream involving a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. So I feel like...
How many of those are there?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. There's going to be a lot of them now. Yeah, so, I think, you good. You know what you do. You know what you're good at. Stick with that.
I agree with that. There wasn't a story like they changed the ingredients or something.
No,
but there was such backlash they changed it back.
There was that. No, the one that did change the ingredients is now terrible. Is Butterfinger. Butterfingers are garbage now. They're so bad now.
It was years ago at this point. But yeah, I feel like I almost
it's like
threw
eating
up
tree bark now.
Last time I bit into a Butterfinger, I think I almost threw up.
Disgusting. Absolute scumbag behavior. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that or not. I know
that was my
conscience. Sorry.
Sorry, talking over you. That was my conscience telling me you shouldn't eat this stuff. But Reese's has that curse on me. But I am out on the Sunday Cups. What's next, Gaz?
All right, gentlemen. This will be a two-parter here. Shark Tank is gearing up for season 18. I guess we'll start there. In or out on Shark Tank season number 18?
I'll say in, even though I haven't really watched a ton of Shark Tank recently. But younger, 10, 15 years ago, I watched every episode for a few years. I loved it. So I don't know if it's really gone that far downhill. I couldn't really comment on the show, but I can't possibly say I'm out on the show. When I watched it, I used to enjoy it. So I'm in on that.
I like the edits of them yelling at some little kid. People splice clips together and they make it sound they're yelling at an 8-year-old. No, I'm out because I don't like Kevin O'Leary. I just don't like this man.
God.
This guy's terrible. He's always like, you should be brown bagging your lunch if you want to be a millionaire. And then he'll go to a red carpet wearing a chain that has an autographed Deion Sanders card. It's worth $80 million. Look at me. I'm like, oh, cool. A lot of brown bag lunches for you, huh, pal? I hate rich people that are just so out of touch with the average person. It's well, you should have stopped drinking coffee and you could buy a house. No, I couldn't. Stop saying that. I couldn't.
You're a part-time radio host. What do you make? $180,000? You should be able to live on that.
It's one banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10?
Exactly, yeah.
It's what it feels like. So I don't like Kevin O'Leary unless the idea is people get to throw things at Kevin O'Leary. I'm out. Make a Shark Tank idea where what's my business? I throw rocks at Kevin O'Leary. I'd be like, yo, I'm watching that episode, so I'm out.
Well, speaking of sports across the angle with Shark Tank, there was a clip where they trolled Mark Cuban where it's because he's a Mavs guy, obviously, and they were Laker fans, and they were they put a joke about the Lakers beating the Mavs to troll Cuban as part of their pitch. Cuban was so mad at them. He gave him this death stare, and he just said, worst pitch ever, I'm out. I hope those guys become billionaires in Cuban's face just because he got so offended by them just being a playful little joke about the Lakers and the Mavs. All right, what's next, Gaz?
All right, Kevin O'Leary, that guy stinks. But Shark Tank Season 18 is introducing all-star lineup of guest sharks. These will include Mindy Kaling, Mr. Beast, J.J. Watt, and some billionaires I've never heard of. But are we in or out on Mindy Kaling, Mr. Beast, and J.J. Watt being guest sharks on Shark Tank?
I'm out on that group. Mindy Kaling, a businesswoman? She's one of the hardest working people in Hollywood. I know she does a lot of writing and stuff. She a businesswoman?
I think so.
She's worthy of the Shark Tank chair?
Isn't Mr. Beast always talking about how he doesn't actually have any money? Isn't that?
Yeah, because it's all tied up in stocks or whatever.
How are you going to be a shark then, man?
Yeah,
you have no money.
My money's tied up in balloon animals. What? Yeah. Nothing. Carry on. Mr. Beast, when we find out about what that guy's got in his closet, it's going to be a nightmarish day online. You see the way that man smiles? Can't trust that guy.
It's a Jason of the Argonauts level skeleton.
It's a really scary smile he has. Whoa, not that big. And he's like, if you can live in my house for a month, I'll give you $1 billion. And you're like, man, that's deranged. But they make a whole movie franchise based on this called Saw.
Did you see? Yeah, did you see Squid Game on Netflix? That's what the Mr. Beast games. They feel like Squid Game in real life. It's a little frightening.
It's just there's one where they have a guy do a weight loss challenge, and halfway through, the guy training him dies. And I'm like, Mr. Beast is responsible for that in some fashion. I can't prove it, but I know it to be true.
He got to where he is by literally just like giving stuff to people, like just being generous. Now it's like, how much are you willing to humiliate yourself for $5,000? You know, it's like
it's very it's very reminiscent of Black Mirror in some of those episodes in terms of how it's become. So I'm out on that, if only because that cast does not intrigue me. The whole idea,
JJ Watt too. Like, what does he know?
I think the whole show in general is a little icky for me. It's like billionaires, getting to pick and choose who gets to make it and whose dream gets to die on live television. That's like a weird thing to me. I don't like that.
Yeah, I think the appeal is you get to sit on your couch and pretend like you're one of the sharks. Mm-hmm. Like you listen to the pitch yourself.
I had that idea too.
I would have given him 40%. That whole thing.
Dr. Pepper should have more flavors.
And especially, like if you're a business major in college, like you just took an MIS class, like, oh, I like this guy's. I would invest in this, like that. That's sort of the appeal. I haven't watched it in a while, but I'm in on the show, out on that list of guests. That list of guests is brutal. All right, what's next?
All right, NBA free agency, all in the news this past week, or not even really free agency. It doesn't exist anymore with all this tampering. But Anthony Simons, former Celtic, said Jameer Nelson, who is the VP with the 76ers now, called his parents while trying to sign him in free agency. Are we in or out on executives or general managers calling free agents parents as part of their pitch?
I'm out, but maybe that just means I'm from a prior generation. I feel like that's a post-millennial, younger millennial Gen Z thing. Parents are way more involved than they used to be. Like, I'm old enough that my parents, we'd go to the mall. My mom would give me $20 and just be like, all right, get out of my sight. I get to just go do whatever I want around the mall for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Meet at the Sunglass Hut at 12:30. That was the plan. I feel like it's a little different now. I feel like their helicopter parents are a big thing. So not surprised at all that they are getting involved in negotiating with their kids on their player contracts, but I'm out on the idea, the concept.
Yeah, I mean, LeVar Ball really seemed like the guy that was a maniac, and now it's kind of common, right? Like, they used to be kind of fun. Like, they would cut to, like, Kevin Durant's mom in the front row, and she'd be smack-talking whoever, having fun with it. Now it feels like they are more business partner than anything else. Like, that was like the other day. I saw Jaylen Brown's dad was doing a radio interview, and I'm like, why is he doing a radio interview? Why? Like, what is that? Why is that happening?
This should have ended at LeVar Ball. Like, that guy was an abomination.
Yeah.
This should have ended with that guy.
Although, I will say, LeVar Ball did give us one of the greatest, memes, GIFs, whatever you want to call it, of him running down to the ring on WWE Monday Night Raw. Just the way he runs is categorically insane. It's like you've never seen a human run like that before in your entire life. And then that's how he runs, and you're like, what is happening right now? So, but no, I guess it is common. Listen, free agency, any edge you can get, right, you'll take. And so I can't fault a GM for doing it.
I could see a GM calling the kids like dad and be like, you're not going to be a pain in the ass, right? You're not going to go on podcasts and bitch about me, right? You're going to keep your mouth shut.
Oh, like Keith Kachuk? Yeah, like Keith Kachuk did? Yeah. Anyway, can I put a qualifier on this, Gaz? Can I say
qualifiers?
Can I say ethically I'm out? Business-wise, I'm in? Like, does that make sense? Like, can I do that?
Yeah.
I respect it.
I get it from the GM side of it.
Yeah. Leave no stone unturned. You know what? I wish Don Sweeney called Keith Kachuk and said, hey, get them here. Get them here, pal.
Yeah, local guy, Come on.
Do us a favor for once.
And maybe he must have talked to Dougie Hamilton's parents.
Oh, the best he knows is he knows Connor Clifton's dad or something. I don't know. That's the best we can do.
They might not have talked to Phil Kessel's parents. I don't know if that worked out the way they wanted.
Stanley Cup champion Phil Kessel.
Seriously. Unbelievable. All right, we got any more, Scaz?
Sure, why not? We can end with this one tonight. Another movie. Dwayne Johnson, always working, is going to star in Freebird, a new film directed by the same guy that did Sing Sing, Greg Quater, I believe is his name. The film follows a Las Vegas motorcycle stuntman who conceals his dementia diagnosis from everyone as he risks doing one last big jump. Are we in or out on The Rock basically doing a stuntman dementia movie?
Okay, off the top, I'll say I'm in, but is this like a comedy? Is this going to be like a serious movie?
It feel like a comedy.
It feels like a bumbling idiot, like a screwball comedy or like a slapstick comedy trying to hide his dementia. Or is this like a serious, like he's going to...
I feel like it's serious.
The Rock's trying to win an Oscar playing a guy with dementia. Is that what the angle they're taking?
He did the boxer thing and no one really cared, right? Or the UFC guy there.
Right. So that's probably what it is. It's the Smashing Machine, except it's about a stuntman. But it's not based on a true story, I imagine. Right?
I would certainly hope not.
That's the quick side note. I'm out on these movies that have come out recently. You probably haven't seen a lot of them, Ty, because they're like boring Oscar movies. They feel like they're based on a true story, but they're not. They're entirely fictional.
Oh, okay.
Like The Brutalist, out on that movie. Like I thought it was really good for 40 minutes or so, but then I found out it was not based on a true story, even though they portray it like he was a real. It's just very off-putting. So I don't know what this movie's going to be like. I'm in on the idea. I kind of like the idea, but I felt my first instinct was it was like some kind of slapstick comedy, like a Mrs. Doubtfire, except it's dementia instead of like dressing up like a woman.
On the way, dear.
Right, like and all the right people are going to get offended about it. It's offensive to people with dementia or whatever. But if it's a serious movie, he might be like it might be like an Oscar. He's trying to win an Oscar, trying to have dementias. I got to look into more of this movie to figure out where I'm actually. And I'll reserve my pick, but for now, I'm in on that.
Out. The Rock has become go-away heat, to borrow a wrestling term for me, in movies for me. Any movie that has Jack Black, Kevin Hart, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I'm out on. With that
so
said,
the Jumanji
with that
movies?
said, Jumanji 1 was good. Jumanji 2 was terrible. Jumanji 1 was fun. Jumanji was like, all right, bring in new people. Enough of this.
Ty, our intern Derek wants me to let you know, are you aware they're making another Jumanji?
Oh, of course they are. They're going to go to the jungle again. Oh, a rhino again. I swear, they're like, they make me check out of any movie. Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Any combo of those two, I'm like, nope, not going to watch that. I'll see it on FX 9 times a day, 8 months from now.
Is it just Jack Black in the Minecraft movie?
Jack Black is too much. He does too much. Settle down.
Even now?
Just settle down.
I feel like maybe I'm just not seeing the right
I don't know what it is. I'm all about being your true self and all that. Like, whatever. But like he sees a microphone, he starts doing like karate moves at it, and he's like it's just do a normal interview.
Yeah,
please.
I have trouble with people that are like always on, always doing a bit. And I'm just
There's
like
nothing worse.
And you like beg them to just like have a regular conversation, be a regular person, and they just keep doing it because they know it gets to you.
I had to say to somebody once, be like, hey man, there are no cameras around us. Just be normal, please. I'm begging you. Just be a normal guy. There's no Jim Halpert. I'm going to look at the camera this way. There's none of that. Just be normal for 10 minutes, please.
Seriously.
Jack Black is never normal.
Yeah, Jack Black doesn't seem
well.
Seems like a guy you'd enjoy hanging out with for like half an hour, and then it would get on you. Get
all right,
on your nerves.
Enough.
All right,
cool Zumbas, dude. I don't know. Oh, is that a tie-dye shirt with a gorilla on it? Wow, that's neat. Sorry. It's a weird thing.
I think you've sold me, Ty. I think I'm out on this Dwayne Johnson movie after that Jack Black.
Well, especially if it has Jack Black in it.
If Jack Black's in it, then it's not a comedy. I mean, that's going to be Jack Black tries to do the King Kong thing.
What was the last good Jack Black movie? The answer is School of Rock.
And Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder was great.
The line he has was like, jelly beans, man. Jelly beans gets me still to this day.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's another movie you probably couldn't make the same way today. Unfortunately. But yeah, no. I think no matter what kind of movie it is, people are going to be offended by it, so that's why I'm in. I'll just watch that unfold. But I get why you're out. All right. Good job, Skaz. That was in and out. All right. Now we're going to take a break here. We will come back. It is Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.
98.5 The Sports Hub, Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson. Got you until 11. Probably have a quick little segment here so we can reset our repeater penalty on the clock there. Ty, that
have to trade Derek White.
No, there we go. That whole discussion about the Dwayne Johnson movie about the stuntman, are we running out of ideas for like sports movies? Like I know they're running out of ideas in general.
Yeah.
But like you got The Rock playing a stuntman, a motorcycle, like an Evel Knievel type.
I think the last sports doc or sports movie, biopic, whatever you want to call it, that we really needed was the Jackie Robinson one. Like that was so well done.
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, and Harrison Ford as well. It's such a good movie. It's so as far as like sports docs or sports biopics goes, like that's unbelievable.
Really? Okay. Well, I know that's funny to say this because it's based on a true story, but did it feel kind of like predictable, formulaic?
No, because I mean, you kind of get like the whitewashed version of Jackie Robinson in terms of like, yeah, you know, he's the first black guy. It's kind of racist, and that's that. Like, no, they kind of go in on some of the stuff that like he had to deal with, and it's like, okay, that's tough.
That's what I like. Yeah, I'd like make it like authentic, for lack of a better term. Like, I don't like the washing out of it, the watering down, just to so you can make it like PG or PG-13, so not people see it at the theater. Let's make a real film about the topic like that.
Well, that's like kind of like I had no interest in the Hulk Hogan documentary because of Hogan having say in it, and Hogan, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, cool, we're gonna get the Hogan version where he was in Metallica, but then he wasn't, and he wrestled 400 days a year, despite there only being 365 days in a year. Like, I don't want the Hogan version because Hogan's a liar. He's a pathological liar.
But the good news, Ty, is I would check it out because they have Bret Hart on it a lot, and he's not afraid to go in on anybody. And there's a lot of everybody giving their honest perspectives on it, so I think it was overall pretty fair and balanced, the documentary.
I'll check it out.
It's a whole episode that focuses on like the dark side of all that. So yeah, no, I would definitely check that out. I get what you mean. You know what I thought it was the Andre the Giant documentary on HBO. Did you ever watch that one?
No.
Like halfway through, it morphs into a Hulk Hogan documentary. The second they get to the WrestleMania 3 portion of the documentary, all of a sudden Hulk goes, "Here's how it went down, brother." And it's all of a sudden it's like, am I watching a Hulk Hogan doc or Andre? Right. That was frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's how Hulk Hogan just sort of ran everybody over, backstage, in the ring, everything. Speaking of that, that just made me think of it. Tonight, Ty, is the 30th anniversary of Hulk Hogan turning heel, forming the NWO. Bash at the Beach 96. Skaz, sorry to put you on the spot. If you could bring up Hulk Hogan crapping all over the fans after turning heel. I don't know if that's easy to bring up. It's okay if you can't.
Unbelievable, brother. You just sold your soul to the devil. These years? Huh? What have I been saying all these years?
Oh my God.
The fans are throwing trash in the ring.
A career of a lifetime. Right down the drain, kid.
For like 5 minutes, Dusty's like, what the hell's going on?
The devil. See those little hulksters with the tears rolling down their face right now?
We are not going to even acknowledge that 3 count.
Now what happens to us? What happens now to WCW?
There was no 3 count.
That's like analytics people. We will not recognize the win.
But he may be wearing red, but he's wearing red and yellow.
Oh, man. 30 years ago.
Hulkamania.
I feel like that happened 30 years ago to the minute. Like it was happening right now 30 years ago. I watched that on the scrambled, like I couldn't order the pay-per-view at the time. Parents didn't do it. So I watched it on like the scrambled channel. I still couldn't believe it.
One of the things that WCW did really well is they had this one referee, and I'm pretty sure he's the ref in this match, who he would act so animated when things would happen that you thought the moves being done to the wrestler were being done to him. He would like throw his head back. Oh! like these horrors were happening to more than just the wrestler being hit. They were happening to the referee as well.
It's one of my favorite things in wrestling. The ref just gets like bumped into and he's just dead for half an hour. Like I've watched it with like my brother, like friends that don't watch it that much. They're like getting a kick. I was like, the referee's still down. It's like the match is almost over. But yeah, like that to me is, people say that's the most pivotal moment in wrestling history. It obviously changed the industry. It was a big move for Hulk Hogan, big for WCW. I don't know. I feel like WWE might have them topped as far as more pivotal moments go. The Stone Cold Steve Austin 316, the night Mick Foley won the championship and then WCW spoiled it and then people switched over, killed their own ratings. I was there that night, by the way. That was a great night. I mean, what would you point to, Ty, as like the biggest moments in a wrestling the industry that like changed the industry the most?
Oh, Stone Cold. Stone Cold, because everyone wanted to beat up their boss, right? And then you had Stone Cold, and you had the D-Generation X as well, and it was relatable to kids who hated authority and adults who hated their bosses. I think that, like, the Attitude Era as a whole had a lot of misses that people kind of gloss over because of how big the star power was, and it was headlined by basically, let's take Rage Against the Machine, but let's make it a wrestling group, and let's make it a wrestling superstar. Like, that's kind of, like, it was very counterculture in terms of, like, any authority figure is bad, and rebelling is good. And I think people, especially young kids, could relate to that at that point in time in America. Think of everything that was big at that point in history. Bart Simpson, right? Bart Simpson, troublemaker.
Yeah,
Rage Against the Machine and grunge music and sort of rebelling against the culture.
Anti-establishment, anti-authority. That whole thing.
They struck while the iron was hot, and they had two groups, or one group and one, single star, that their entire ethos was authority sucks, fight against it, and win. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of like their whole thing. And so I think it's interesting that that's how that all came to be. But I look at those two groups and, kind of working against each other at the same time, that was must watch. It was every character actually had depth to it besides, oh, they're big and they're strong. Oh, look at that. Like, he's got long blonde hair. Like, no, like, they actually had good characters that were fleshed out and, I think spoke to people beyond just like it's a strong guy lifting other strong men. I think it's a real thing.
I think Vince Russo deserves a lot of credit for that, being the head writer of that era. He also had Vince McMahon to stop him from the worst ideas, though. And that's why he didn't really work out in WCW. All right, 617-779-0985. We are going to take a quick break here. If you want to call in, talk about anything. I mean, Celtics, Bruins, wrestling, Dwayne Johnson having dementia in his next film, Reese's, whatever. Everything we talked about.
What do you add in his next film? People driving around like, what, he's got dementia? That explains Jumanji, too.
He is just, fake dementia, portrayal of dementia. All right, we'll be right back. Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, your quick World Cup update. Obviously, the USA lost last night, 4-1. They are out of the tournament. Today, though, Lionel Messi in Argentina had a furious second-half comeback, 3 goals in, I believe, 11 minutes, I want to say, to beat Egypt 3-2 and to advance to the next round. Switzerland, meanwhile, beat Colombia in penalty kicks 4-3. They are also on to the next round, group of 8. And with the dust settling on the Jaylen Brown trade, the Celtics made their signing of Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley Jr. official. And Ron Harper's deal is a 4-year deal, not a 3-year deal, as previously reported. The Red Sox currently up 4-0 on the Chicago White Sox. A strong 6 shutout innings from Peyton Tolley. He looked real good. Cedar Rafaela also had a 2-run home run early in this one. Sports of Headlines brought to you by Boston Prolotherapy. Don't let joint pain keep you off the court, course, or trail. Eliminate that pain with Dr. Franke of Boston Prolotherapy. I am Ty Anderson. Next check on the headlines in 30 minutes.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to
98.5 The Sports Hub, Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson. We got you until 11. If you want to call in, talk about really anything you want, 617-779-0985, especially at this point in the program. We are not in the business of turning away callers. Anything you want, as long as, within reason. All right, Ryan in Malden has a show that we should watch. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, now, what's going on, guys? Great show so far, man. You guys had me dying in the in or out. Ty, you and your, you can do some good impressions there, brother. You got me going. You got me going, man. So we all love Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? Hopefully you guys
absolutely,
do.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, so if you guys like that, if you guys like, the Soup Nazi, Seinfeld, you're going to love Life, Larry, and the Pursuit of Happiness. It's Larry David, and it's on HBO, and they go to, like, the Revolutionary War, to, like, the Civil War, to, like, the Declaration of Independence. And what would happen if Larry David, like, the character was there, but he's like, he'll be like he'll be like Jefferson in one of the shows, but it's more of the Larry David take of what he would say. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's a really, really funny show, man. HBO does it right. I think Larry David is one of the best comedians, best comics, and best producers of our lifetime, which especially Seinfeld, again, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Definitely can't go wrong, but I think you guys would love that one.
All right, thanks, Ryan. I don't know if you just let one go by accident.
I dumped him just to be safe.
Okay. It sounded like it. I don't know.
What's funny is
that was a good call, though.
We do more podcasts than we do radio. You and I do, Matt. And sometimes I'm like, "Ooh, I'm so close to saying a word that I definitely can't say on the air right now." Like it does happen. Unfortunately, this is the show that he did with Barack Obama as a producer, I believe, or an executive producer in some fashion. And there was a story about how Obama was like, "Hey, you got to listen to some of my advice sometimes, man, because when I was president, I had to listen to people even if I didn't agree with them, and I had to make the right kind of call." And Larry David apparently said to him, in true Larry David fashion, "Well, I'm the president of this, so." Which is like,
I think we're good here.
I have started watching Curb again, just because I kind of forgot about it. The episode where he gets a Larry David sandwich is one of the funniest episodes in that show.
That's where he changes it, right? And
it's just disgusting. It's it's whitefish.
Yeah, but he sticks that on Ted Danson, right?
Yeah.
And he has to break the news to Ted Danson.
But he tries to get Ted to trade with him.
Yeah.
And Ted is, and it has one of the best all-time reactions, I think, in that show's history, where Ted goes, yeah, that sounds awful.
Right. That was the fun, because they were hoping to get through the conversation without breaking the news. He's like, "Yeah, but what's in my sandwich?" They're like, anchovies.
And then it hits the point where
dumpster juice.
Larry turns to
an apple core.
He turns to Chip, goes, "Shut up! Will you shut up?" As he keeps naming horrible things that are in the sandwich.
Oh my god, that show holds up. I think because of the acting, and there's just all the real comics. My take on that show is at the end, the late seasons, it kind of became a parody of itself, if that makes sense, where it's they lean into the jokes, but it was still laugh out loud funny. That's how special that show was. That held up all the way to the end.
That show is my go-to when people ask me, what's a show that when it aired, it was already established, but they brought in a new character and it breathed new life into the show. Leon, played by JB Smoove, is that guy.
Yeah.
He comes in midway through the series and totally changes it in a way that is incredible. It's so funny.
Does Danny DeVito count?
It should, because he wasn't part of the original cast, right?
That was only one
comes
season.
in early, but
that was only one season with us.
Yeah, I feel like he half counts, but it is a totally different show once he enters it.
And that show is an example of becoming a parody of itself, but in a funny way.
It's still, that's another one that's still
just
holds up.
How disgusting Frank is now, and how
Dennis is a serial killer, basically,
right? And how much of a sex pest he is. One of the funny episodes.
You do not know the limits to my powers.
When he stops wearing makeup and he's just disgusting.
He's like a zombie. Yeah, he's a skeleton.
And girl's like, go away. I always my girlfriend and I make fun of each other whenever one of us does something that's older than our age. Be like, going to bed. What are you, 40? And he's like, same age. We love just go same age and walking away.
I do like that. Depending on the situation, they pick someone to actually be the smart person in the room. and like point out the other person. Like there's the one crazy person every scene, and then they have the one person on standby to be the smart one for that moment.
Yeah,
it works. I don't know how it works, but it
does. It's unbelievable. But yes, what are we talking about?
Funny shows.
Yeah.
Brian and Carver, by the way, has a take on the new Larry David show. So go ahead, Brian.
Hey, the last call that you had on, he is absolutely right. And he is absolutely funny. He does a bit with Rosa Parks, and the bit was he was the guy before Rosa Parks, but he aggravated her so much that she got out of the seat and went into the back of the bus. So it is funny. He is right.
Let's check it out.
Thanks, Brian. So it's like, what if Larry David like changed history for the worse?
Yeah, it's almost like their version of like Marvel going back in time and removing Infinity Stones, but Larry David. I did see a clip of I did see the clip from the Rosa Parks episode. He just like annoys the bejesus out of her, and he's like, "Can you help me take my sweater off?" Like he's just like doing stuff that like you'd get annoyed with over time. Be like, "All right, enough of this guy." The thing about Curb is once, and I don't know how long it goes without Richard Lewis, but like I miss the dynamic of Richard Lewis and Larry David. Now that Richard Lewis has passed on, unfortunately we lose that dynamic. But like that was such a fun give and go, them back and forth. Like it was unbelievable. So
I feel that way about Marty Funkhauser. So Bob Einstein also passed.
Yeah,
that's a guy where literally he just walks into the room and you start laughing before he even says a word because just an epic conversation is about to happen the second Funkhauser walks in.
No, it's great. It's great.
He tries to tell Seinfeld that the vulgar joke that we can't repeat on the air. And Jared's like, oh, that's okay.
I didn't expect to be so vulgar, and then it got worse.
Oh, man. So, yeah, that's good. I don't watch a lot of new shows, to be honest. I'm kind of going back and rewatching old stuff. That's kind of my thing these days.
Because I want to be fully focused. And fortunately, I rarely have the bandwidth to do that outside of like August. I feel like now I can maybe start a show if I want to. There's a new America documentary, I think narrated by Tom Hanks on Netflix.
Okay.
That I want to check out. But I mean, we'll see. The intro was very slow and very it just didn't capture me, so I got to revisit it when I'm in a more open-minded frame of mind.
All right, 617-779-0985. Maybe we'll get back to talking sports, but I kind of like where the conversation's going on TV shows, movies, whatever.
I mean, we got to reset the deck here a little bit.
We got to reset the deck, and I got to get back on the clock a little bit. So we'll just take a quick breather and come right back here. Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
98.5 Sports Hub, Matt Dolloff, Ty Anderson. Got you for a little bit more than one more hour here. I want to keep let's keep the TV conversation going for one more segment at least, Ty. I want to scratch an itch here. The whole digital media versus physical media thing, it's kind of reaching a tipping point for me. I'm getting kind of fed up with it. I feel like I'm going to start investing more in, DVDs, CDs, records, whatever. It's getting to be too much. I haven't been into the concept of, like, quote unquote buying something on Xfinity to have it digitally or everything being available on streaming services. I'd rather kind of just have it. If I really want to watch something, just have the Blu-ray. You just pop in the Blu-ray whenever you want. I kind of like that idea. It's kind of becoming a better idea. I know people, a lot of people don't care about that. It's a digital age and all that, but I feel like it's going to reach a point where there starts to be a backlash where, like, people lose the stuff that they used to have, and they don't have any physical version, so now they can't see the thing that they wanted to see. Like, it's gone forever because it's not available anywhere. I don't know if you saw that Sony announced that PlayStation is going to be doing away with physical discs forever, I think starting in 2028. Hate that. There's the whole controversy with them. You're buying like a license and it's not even permanent. Like, they can revoke the license. They can just take that stuff away from you whenever they want. That's what I hate about this day and age. I don't know where do you stand on physical media versus digital?
Well, I'm trying to be more of a minimalist, so I don't mind not having a cluttered apartment when it comes to, like, having all this physical media.
Sure.
Now, that said, I don't like the overreach of people being able to say, nope, you don't have this anymore, where it's like, what do you mean? I've paid for it. Like, no, we changed the rules. You want to pay more money, you can pay more money, but we're not, you don't have under that deal anymore, right? And so I do feel like there should be some sort of regulations on that, personally, because I feel like we experienced that already with, so I have Netflix, right?
Yeah.
And I like to occasionally put on Monday Night Raw. Why do I have ads when I pay $20 a month for Netflix? Why do I have ads? I don't have ads for anything else. Why do I have ads for this? So then I looked up, why do I have ads for Monday Night Raw when I'm watching that on Netflix when I pay $20 a month for it? Oh, you have to get the other tier. That's now $30 a month.
Yeah.
Just so I can not watch ads? And just so I can see the full show that I'm paying to watch?
Yeah.
So that part I don't like. I also don't like the streaming wars in terms of, like, oh, well, that franchise is now up for auction, basically. So it's on HBO Max now, but it might be going to Paramount. So if you want to watch it, you better watch it on Paramount.
Right, that's my thing. Like, if it's something I really like and I'm going to rewatch it, I'm just getting the DVD or the Blu-ray at that point. I'm not going to jump around different streaming services. I wish I could just afford all of it, but, like, I feel like the average person can't. So it's like we can't keep up with all this stuff.
So my version of rebelling against this, Matt, is like, if it's a game. And I've said this before when we've hosted a show. If it's a game on Amazon Prime or Peacock and it doesn't involve the teams that I care about, I'm not watching. You're not getting me. I'm going to go and do something else because I look at it as I already pay out the ass for everything I want to watch, and I can't. Now you're going to add more roadblocks? No, I'm good. I'll see you later. Like, I'm cool just not watching it if I don't have to. If I don't have to cover it or it has nothing to do with me, I'm just not going to watch it. I got to be honest with you, man. I didn't watch the Celtics playoff games. They're on Peacock. I went, I'll watch it later. I'm not. I can't be bothered right now. I don't want to do this right now. I'm not doing it.
And that's another thing. Yeah, you can just catch it later.
Right.
It's the same thing. But yeah, no, the Monday Night Raw thing kind of struck a chord with me too, because so back in the Attitude Era, I was obsessed, and it was also the time I discovered recording things off TV onto a VHS tape. I had probably every Monday Night Raw and almost every pay-per-view from 1998 to maybe 2001, all of it on tape. I wish I kept that. I don't have them anymore. I think I gave them to someone, and I don't know what happened to them from there.
But now,
like, they're censoring certain things. They're removing certain episodes of Raw, which I know, like, some of the content is offensive. I get it, but, like, I feel like you could just put a disclaimer or something. Don't just take it away. Now I wish I had all those old tapes, but I don't know if you can't even get a VCR these days, it seems. It makes me old, but I feel like there's going to be a point where stuff gets, like, really draconian with the digital licenses and things that get taken away. The tide's going to turn, and the people are going to say, no, actually, I want to own something. as opposed to owning nothing and everything being a subscription. All right, 617-779-0985. Back on the clock, fortunately. Ty's going to give you a look at the headlines. No commercials. We're going to come right back. Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson. One more hour on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studio, this is
strong finger all up and go.
This is home of the 18-time world champion Boston Celtics. WBZ FM and HD Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines.
The USA men's national team's World Cup dreams came to an end Monday night with a 4-1 loss to Belgium. The USA has obviously been eliminated from the tournament as a result of that loss. Elsewhere, Lionel Messi and Argentina won today 3-2 over Egypt thanks to a stunning late-game comeback, 3 goals in 11 minutes to eliminate Egypt. And Switzerland beat Colombia on penalty kicks 4-3 to advance to the group of 8 as well. The Boston Celtics, meanwhile, made their signing of Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley Jr. official. The team also, quick update, Ron Harper Jr.'s contract is a 4-year deal, not a 3-year deal, as previously reported. And the Boston Red Sox, up 4-0, are now up 4-1. So no panic just yet. Peyton Tolley, excellent tonight. 6 innings, 2 hits, 6 strikeouts. Red Sox looking for the win. And of the news, Red Sox also added Patrick Sandoval. I keep almost saying Pablo Sandoval. Nope, he's out of the league. Added him to their active roster. First time since undergoing Tommy John surgery way back in 2024. Sports of Headlines brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I am Ty Anderson. Next check on the headlines in half an hour.
This is what happens when analysts take over the games, take over the sport.
This is where you talk sports.
It happens all the time.
The Sports Hub.
617-779-0985. I do want to circle back to a sports topic, Ty. And this is, what, you're holding your finger out? What's up?
Well, I got something here for you. Bringing it back to
news?
Not news, but something that we talked about off the jump that I think is worth mentioning here.
Okay.
This is Sam Quinn from CBS Sports. He's an NBA reporter for CBS Sports. He said yesterday Brad Stevens mentioned how much harder it would have been to build around the Jays at 70% of their cap compared to the 47% they made when they won the title. As part of something I'm working on, I looked at how much the last 10 champions spent on their top 2 players. What he's discovering in this process, he says, is that there's no cheat code in the NBA like underpaying your best player. Notice that the best player on the 2026 Knicks, 2024 Celtics, 2019 Raptors, and 2017 Warriors are not listed on the graphic. And the graphic he posts shows the 2 most expensive players and the percentage of the cap spent on those top 2 players. This year, the New York Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby accounted for 59.95% of their cap. Jalen Brunson is not part of that grouping. It's true. That part is true. It would have been really hard. The last team that spent 70% or higher and won was the Golden State Warriors when they beat the Celtics in 2022.
Right, and that's an established dynasty. Been there, done that.
And you could argue, to a certain degree, strip down a little bit, getting rid of Kevin Durant. Right, Durant was gone by that point. He had been there, and he left for his new endeavor by then. But so it's a win for Brad in that sense, right? It's a win for the Celtics in that sense that the idea of having over 70% of a cap tied up in 2 players is getting increasingly rare, especially when you're trying to win a championship, And so, and this is a result of the CBA that we all acknowledge. But if you look at this graphic that Sam Quinn from CBS Sports created, it's on his Twitter account.
Retweet this.
It is sort of it's a feather in the cap there to Brad Stevens and what he says being closer to reality versus what you and I are hemming and hawing about how ownership doesn't want to spend the money. It's like, yeah, they might not want to spend the money, but there's actual data here that says they may be onto something.
No, yeah, I'm not against the idea of it. I don't totally reject the idea. I just reject the idea that they got themselves better by doing that particular deal with Jaylen Brown and Paul George.
Agree.
And you have basically the same problem. And it's just tied up in a 36-year-old Paul George. Can't stay healthy. He's scoring under 20 points a game now. It's like, I don't see how you justify that exact return.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not against the idea of trading Jaylen Brown. I wasn't against the idea of breaking up Brown and Tatum. I'm not against the idea that maybe they could be better by breaking them up. But I would have held out for a better offer, traded Jaylen Brown for multiple pieces, whoever was offering that. See what that other team was willing to offer that told Chris Mannix they would have upped it. Like, I just think they kind of rushed into it. They rushed into it for, I think, a terrible return. And then the saving, the spending thing, like they're going to spend, the picks are going to be good. That's all projecting, and that's all putting a lot of faith in a brand new owner who comes from private equity and has done nothing but shed payroll over the last few years. But yeah, like the way it's set up now, going back to just the idea, the overall concept, I think you have to just draft well, and they have to hope that they really hit on a draft pick here and they get like an all-star caliber player underneath Jason Tatum who's making, a fraction of what he makes. That's, I think, their best hope of winning a championship, and call it the next 5 years.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of pressure, perhaps undue, on Hugo Gonzalez now, where, again, you get to the 1 yard line on the Giannis sweeps, or we're led to believe, and then you get on the 1 yard line and Milwaukee says, hey, Miami's offering us more younger players. We would like some of those younger players, whether that's Ugo or Baylor Shireman or Jordan Walsh, like whoever it is, right? Like, and the Celtics say, we're not going to do that. That would sort of lead you to what you're saying, where they believe that those players could maybe be that type of player for you down the road. It's just, I know it's a hard sell for fans right now. When you see the championship, you finally feel like you got to the finish line, right? Against all odds, against all reason, when you say, no, Jay and Jay won't work together, you got to trade one of them. You finally win it in 2024. One of them goes through a massive injury in 2025. 2026 is kind of a found money year in the sense that you beat the expectations in terms of what people expected out of you, and now it's all over, right? And so now you have to hope those players can adjust here. And actually, Skaz, I wanted to ask you, you do the Green Teamers podcast here. You're a big Celtics guy. What do you think about the trade as a whole and subbing out Jaylen Brown, bringing in Paul George, and you know what? Let's go farther than that. Add in Mitchell Robinson. Are they, in your opinion, a better team than they were this past year?
Yeah, so I think they are a better team. I think, unfortunately, my biggest takeaway from this whole thing is maybe two big things. Number one is the Boston Celtics as an organization think Jaylen Brown stinks at basketball. They think he's straight up bad at the sport of basketball.
You think that's strong?
I kind of think that's what they're telling us, or at least, actions speak louder than words.
So when there's someone in the league that says like he's barely top 80 in the league, they might actually agree with something like that.
I think that's strong, but I think. We heard the report that they thought Derek White had a better season than Jaylen Brown. That was one of the weird reports that came out after that trade. And there are, numbers, not numbers that, I subscribe to or am that, interested in, but VORP, and we talked about RMAP or something the other night, or these weird things where if those people in that building have that kind of sway and power, I think there's a legit chance that the Celtics really think Jaylen Brown hurt them on the basketball court. And in terms of, the money, I kind of got myself in trouble for this one, last week, but are they saving money like now? Because they're saving $3-4 million, but the money they're saving is in the future. They're not actually saving any money until 2030, 2029. Like we're getting them in trouble for money they didn't actually spend yet, money we were assuming they were going to spend. So for me, strictly from a basketball standpoint, Jaylen Brown, Nikola Vucevic out. You have that same exact core. You're bringing in Tatum, Mitchell Robinson, and Paul George. Unfortunately for Jaylen Brown, he never really had the opportunity to play with Tatum last year. He definitely didn't play with Paul George and Mitchell Robinson. So I just think from a roster perspective, they probably are a little bit of a better basketball team, but there's no reason that you couldn't have sold me on Mitchell Robinson, Jaylen Brown, and Tatum. And I think that's where the problem comes in, and that's where the optionality or whatever the hell it is and the flexibility is. You really have to show us down the line that you meant those things, or why didn't we just run this back with Jaylen Brown? I think is a perfectly fair question.
Right. Well, 6th Street and Bill Chisholm, I will very happily get them in trouble for something they haven't done yet, because I think they will do it, and that is not spending what it takes to win, is what Bill Chisholm said maybe multiple times. But yeah, no, to me, honestly, my frustration goes back to just this year and next year, really, more than the future. Like, I think a lot of analytics people get caught up in the draft picks and the flexibility in the long term and thinking about the long term. It's almost like they're building toward a present that never arrives. That's what frustrates me about the analytics people. I am worried about right now with Jason Tatum, 28 years old, the prime year of all prime years. This should be a go for it kind of year, and it feels like they deliberately took a step back so they could maybe be better 3-5 years from now.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that. NBA primes are, pretty finite. We know they're 27, 28 to 32-ish. That's when guys in that league win. The only thing I can come back to, and you want to talk about being a green teamer, giving them a pass and all that, is have they looked at it as, well, last year was a lost year, so we got under it. Tatum was hurt. We left Brown to the Wolves, basically. We gave him we signed Chris Boucher and Xavier Tillman in the offseason. Right. And then this year you can move Jalen, so you can kind of finagle your way under that tax, knowing that guys in Tatum's spot coming off that injury, that this year is a wash too almost, and they're setting for that hard reset next year. And look, that's pie in the sky. I got, green sunglasses on and all that, but I think that's almost what they're trying to sell us, is that Jason Tatum is not going to be Jason Tatum fully next season, and for us to really go for it, it's the following year. But it's almost Red Soxian in that, just wait. We'll do it eventually. Just wait. No, we're going to spend. We'll be competitors. Just wait. The prospects are coming. The guys are like, it's how long can you drag it out? Is this, I think, a very real concern.
Yeah, and like that's what I'm concerned about, is just the present. Like, I feel like these guys don't live in the present enough. And you talk about the saving the money 3-5 years. I think that is what 6th Street and those guys think. They think about the big picture. They didn't become billionaires by reacting to everything that happens in front of them. They think long term. And so I think that is a consideration for them. And it's just now they're going to have to draft well, and they're probably going to have to, really nail those picks they got back from the Sixers to build it around Tatum, which is frustrating. There's a whole other angle to this, and that's the relationship between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Skaz, I sent this to the Slack. I don't know if you can pull this up, but Shams Charania was on some show, the Straight Shooter show. I don't know exactly whose show that is. This is the first. I feel like this is the first time we've heard anybody even hint at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum not having the best relationship, and now this is the top NBA insider. I assume he didn't swear on this clip, so yeah, give me Shams here.
His career, but it is a tale of two different people. And for the longest time, over 10 years, 9 years together, they both worked amazing on the court together. Like, on the court, they were great. But like over the last year or so, that personal relationship, it was as close to like, not existent as you could have. But on the court, they were amazing, hard-working professionals together.
Gotcha. So yeah, like that sounds like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of obvious without, I never want to be this guy that dissects Instagram stories and Twitter posts and likes and what have you, but I mean, you see the post that Jason Tatum makes after they trade Jaylen Brown. First of all, it took him a couple days to post it, right? If you go and read this Instagram story, it sounds like the high school jock signing a yearbook for someone he never talked to, where he's like, wow, so many memories, 4 years, 8 years together, we'll always be brother. Like, it was very like generic, right? But that's also could be a symptom of, Tatum his front facing personality is really kind of guarded and shielded. Like, he's kind of boring in that regard.
I feel like we don't know anything about him as a person.
Right. And but there's also like that's why I liked them together. I liked them together because I thought that Brown had more of the intensity that you might need to win a championship. I go back to 2024. When they won that title, Jaylen Brown took on that responsibility of playing against Luka Doncic personally. You would have thought that Luka like spit in his face before the game started, the way he handled that challenge, where he was angry going against him every game, and it worked out to the Celtics' advantage.
I wish you could take Jaylen Brown's mentality and put it in Jason Tatum's talent, skill
right.
set.
And so this is where I'm a little down on the Celtics now moving forward, and when it comes to winning a championship in the immediate future. I know I can't quantify this. I know this is a feeling more than anything that you're going to see in analytics, anything you're going to see. Do they have enough dogs? You know what I mean? Do they have enough guys that are going to attack a player, like a dog on a raw bone? Like, that's what I want to know, because I feel like they have a lot of guys now that are really good at basketball and like being really good at basketball and like being friends with other players who are really good at basketball. Yeah. I don't know if they have like an FU kind of guy in there, and I think we're in the era of that guy maybe winning. I thought Wemby beat the Thunder because he had more of that kind of like, I don't like you, I'm going to beat you.
Yeah.
I think the Knicks, Jalen Brunson has that, I don't like how this game is going, so I'm going to change it on my own kind of mentality.
I hate this league. I was a second-round pick, and I'm going to make you pay for it. That's right. Jalen Brunson. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so I feel like we're in the era of the NBA player with attitude kind of winning and finding ways to bridge the talent gap.
That's the outlier, yeah.
So if you have the talent and the attitude, I love that kind of team construct. Right now, I feel like they have the talent, but where does the attitude come from? It can't be Mazzulla. Mazzulla's only coaching. He's not playing. It needs to be from a player.
I think
Where does that come from?
Robinson and Conley are probably brought in part to sort of fill that void. I think because they're tough. They play defense. They compete. That whole thing. Mm-hmm. But you really need that from the top of the lineup. And I'm just skeptical that Tatum can be that guy. All right, 617-779-0985. I actually see a couple of you on the line. Please hang on. We will get back to you and take your calls next segment here. Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Matt Dolloff, Ty Anderson. Got you for about 40 more minutes here. Got you until 11. Ty, when I say you can call in and talk about whatever you want, I truly mean it. I truly mean it. And on to that end, we got Matt in North Reading with Wimbledon talk. What's up, Matt?
What's up, boys?
Hey.
Love the show.
Thank you.
Doing a great job filling in for the big one, Joe Murray.
I appreciate that.
Hey, listen, real quick. Give me your picks. There's 4 left. Wimbledon on the grass over in London, baby. I hope you watch Novak take down FAA today in the semis. 5 hours and 15-minute long quarterfinal match. You want to talk about athletes, Ty Anderson? Who are the greatest athletes in the world? And you know what hockey players say? Tennis players.
Yeah.
You know what hockey players love to do in the off-season?
Play tennis.
Their cardio is tennis. Yes, it is. And one of the best tennis players I ever got to play against, unbelievable hands. The old Lord Byron Defoe. Remember Byron Defoe?
Oh, man.
One of my
Lord
favorites.
Byron. Yeah. Awesome guy. Awesome human being. Great guy. I don't know where he is now, but he was a hell of a tennis player.
All right, thanks, Matt. My favorite Byron Defoe is when he beat the crap out of Patrick Lalime.
Yeah.
The goalie fight and Dale's call from it Nesson. That was good. I wish I could give a real tennis take. I don't watch a lot of tennis, but I mean, I know Jannik Sinner and I know Novak Djokovic. They're playing each other in the semifinal. I might have to check that out. That's an epic match.
Big tennis player is David Pastrnak, in case your people didn't know. He loves playing tennis.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a tennis instructor, and he actually has worked with Pastrnak before.
Yeah. So
shout out to him.
He's a big tennis guy. Yeah, I mean, Sinner's the kind of the call to make there. I mean, he's number one. He's number one for a reason. I gotta say, I haven't watched a lot of Wimbledon this year. I've been kind of captivated by the World Cup, unfortunately. But I actually do enjoy watching tennis on TV. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love watching the U.S. Open. It's always a nice kind of summertime. It's too hot to really go outside, but you want to have something on, kind of. So I actually do enjoy watching it. I do like watching the Australian Open too, because it's on in the middle of the night, and I'm a kind of a night owl, so I can't really sleep. So it's something to watch, something live to watch. When I'm home, I was trying to explain this to my girlfriend. When I'm home, I like watching something live because it makes me feel connected with what's happening outside of my walls.
That makes sense.
If something happens in the world, I'm going to know because I'm watching sports on TV. I'm watching a live event on TV. So, if something happens, if the Goodyear blimp goes to space all of a sudden, and it's not just staying here, I know because I'm connected with the outside world via my television.
And that's why I feel like radio still has appeal, because we're live right now.
Yeah.
As opposed to you watch something that was talked about 5 hours ago. Breaking news happens and you got the instant reactions. Twitter has live and there's live YouTube. They've tried to replicate that experience, but it's really not the same. Not yet. Maybe it'll get there. That's where I feel like radio still has the edge, is in the live instant, thing.
And I do like, with tennis, I also do like watching Coco Gauff. I feel like she's really good. I feel like she's really talented.
I've heard of her.
I know these are very simplistic tennis thoughts for you, but I do enjoy the sport. I do enjoy watching it. It is one of those sports that is like absolute endurance, absolute stamina kind of war zone, right? Because it can go on for 5.5 hours, 6 hours. You better be ready for it. So I do enjoy watching it, but I have not caught enough of this year's tournament.
I feel like my tennis takes would be a girlfriend or mom that doesn't know anything about it. I like his hair. That's why I want that guy to win.
Also, a sneaky hard sport to play in real life.
I can see that.
You watch it and you're like, oh, I can do that. And then you're like, how the hell do they get it over there?
I could see that. No, we did. We had a tennis, a week of tennis in gym class, and launching it over the fence every time.
Yeah,
I could never hit it straight to the other side.
It's the getting it to go where I want it to go. That's the hard, and keeping it in bounds. That is actually sneaky hard.
I suck at ping pong too. I don't know why. I just can't. You said, I can't get my hand to do what my brain wants it to do.
Ping pong, I'm pretty good at, but if you're one of these, dummies that's whacking it, I'm like, all right, can we just play? Can we have fun?
Excuse me, doing what?
Just whacking it in a camper.
The balls have been whacking it.
No, I
might have to dump us for that one.
What's a sport? What's an esoteric sport that you're really good at? What's a weird one that you're like, oh, I'm actually surprisingly good at that.
I feel like I don't know. Darts, I guess. I'm pretty good at darts.
You ever been to Flight Club?
What the hell is a flight club?
It's in Seaport, and it's like a dart place.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually kind of fun.
I thought you were saying it was like another sport, flight club.
No.
They're flying on a broom like a Quidditch or something.
Yeah. No, the one sport I was admittedly terrible at that I tried playing was lacrosse. I could not. And everyone's like, "Oh, you play hockey, you can play lacrosse." Not me. Couldn't do it.
Damn. I
Could
played
not
hockey.
do it.
Yeah, I look back. I wish I took up lacrosse as a spring sport because I gave up on baseball. I wasn't that good at baseball after like Little League. So I gave up. I played only hockey for a while. I wish I took up lacrosse.
Would have been fun.
I feel like that would have been I feel like that would have translated. Yeah, but darts would be my pick for like a random game where it's like it's not necessarily athletic, but you do have to have the hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
Right? You know what? Another one that I feel like I could have been good at if I tried, if I invested in it is archery.
Oh,
Sort of similar to darts. I went to a summer camp once and we did archery, and I was the only one in my group to actually hit the bullseye. Maybe I should have leaned into that. I could have been an Olympic archer.
Yeah.
You don't have to be necessarily in the best shape to be an Olympic archer, I imagine, right?
I got a kid I went to high school with who is a professional cornhole player.
Wow.
He's actually like, you can see him on ESPN playing cornhole.
See, what I don't get about something like professional cornhole, how do they not just get it in the hole every single time?
Well, I guess there's strategy or something to it.
There's strategy to like not, because the points subtract from each other.
Yeah.
Something like that. There's the strategy of it, but I feel like those guys, if they want to, they could just get it, dunk it in the hole every single time.
I think that
You got to put a windmill in front of them, like mini golf or something.
The one that I'm actually like, I wish I was nasty at would be candlepin bowling. You can't be good at candlepin bowling. There's not a science to it. I think all those guys are
It's
now
like a carnival game.
They're all now like 95 and they don't do it anymore. Like they used to have candlepin on TV. My great grandfather, he'd watch me when I was like a little kid, and he would watch Candlepin Stars and Strikes. It was be on TV. It was in black and white, or not black and white, but it was like the worst quality footage in the world. Some smoke-filled bowling alley, probably somewhere in New Hampshire.
And cigarettes, like my doctor prescribed me this.
Yeah. What do you do to stay in shape? I push kids off bicycles and smoke cigarettes. Like, that sounds like a bowler to me. No, but, these guys would just be able to knock it down. And then I go candlepin bowling, and I try to throw it. I'll throw it right down the middle, knocks 3 pins down. I'm like, there's no science to this. This is crazy. You gotta be voodoo, and you have to be born in 1928, I feel like, to be good at that.
617-779-0985. This is a live. I like this conversation that we've gone into. If you want to call in before the show's over, tell us what like random sports adjacent kind of activity.
I don't want to hear that you're good at flag football. I want to hear if you're good at horseshoes.
Yeah, not flag football.
Bocce ball,
croquet.
I need the weird stuff.
Shuffleboard, like things like that. All right, if you have any suggestions, please call in. We're getting into the home stretch here. We're going to take a break here, though, and we'll be right back. Ty's going to give you a look at the headlines here, and we'll be back. Matt Dolloff, Ty Anderson, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
As you've heard by now, because I've said it 6,000 times, the U.S. men's national team was eliminated on Monday night with a 4-1 loss to Belgium. Matt, I want to get into that after the break here. Elsewhere in the World Cup, Lionel Messi and Argentina had a 3-2 comeback win over Egypt today, and Switzerland beat Colombia in penalty kicks 4-3. Both teams have advanced to the quarterfinals of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The Celtics, meanwhile, made their signing of Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley Jr. official today, as well as Ron Harper Jr. to a 4-year contract with the Celtics. The Red Sox, meanwhile, are up 8-1 on the White Sox, so barring something disastrous, and fortunately for them, Jordan Hicks is now on the White Sox, not the Red Sox. Looks like they're going to win again. The Red Sox also activated Patrick Sandoval to their active roster. It is the first time he has been activated by the Red Sox since they signed him back in December 2024. Sports Hub headlines brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Don't put off losing weight this summer. Reach your goal during the easiest season for weight loss. Awaken 180, the official weight loss program of summer. I am Ty Anderson. This has been Sports Hub headlines. We got more of the show after this.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The
What's this? Oh, UFO study.
UFO study. Come on. Give me a Chiron. I don't know what this man is saying.
It's the guy from Willy Wonka.
Meets
him in the dark alley.
Oh, Harvard's going to lead the UFO Council.
What is the council?
All right, egghead. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, is Mace Windu going to be in there?
Anyway.
Ty, you wanted to scratch an itch on the World Cup, right? The U.S. Lost in miserable fashion.
Yeah.
Let me scratch my itch first, then I'll let you go. Mm-hmm. They reminded me a lot of the Boston Bruins on their worst day against, say, the Florida Panthers. Just brutal defensive play in their own end. Can't clear the ball in this case. Everyone's looking around. I don't know if they call it forechecking in soccer, but the Belgium forecheck was just relentless. They make easy plays, through traffic and scoring past the goal. Goalie making boneheaded mistakes like Linus Ullmark in that one game against Florida a few years ago. Oh, and by the way, your ceiling is the World Cup equivalent of the first or second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. They can't get out of the round of 16. It's very frustrating. I think there are big picture issues which we could probably get into, but just what's your take on that? On the loss.
Listen, I'm really happy that Christian Pulisic decided to do an interview with GQ. I think it was GQ. Just an absolute hardo interview before the tournament began. Being like, just another tournament, no big deal. We've played in big games before. Not a big deal. Thanks, man. You really showed like you really cared when it mattered. Empty calorie scorer, in my opinion, not a guy that I think should be the face of USA Soccer. And to bring it on home to your point, I feel like this is just another hype machine for the USA Soccer machine that goes nowhere. You look at how they enter the tournament. That loss to Turkey at the end, I know it meant nothing because they were already comfortably, where they were in their group. But
it was a bad omen.
Bad omen. And you look back at who they've beaten the last, 3-4 World Cups. It's not a real murderer's row. It's not like they beat Ghana, they beat Iran, they beat Bosnia to get to this round. It feels like whenever they run into a real power, it's like, okay, cool, you beat Australia, you beat Paraguay. Can you beat anybody out? Like, it just feels like, I wanted to have the confidence going into that Belgium game, but I was like, even older Belgium just seems like a team that just better players.
That felt at times like when the Warriors came back against the Celtics in the NBA Finals, where the Warriors are like, all right, we're going to try now. Aging team, but, been there, done. They're not the Belgians won the World Cup. But I didn't know anything about them, but I was watching. You could just tell as a sports fan early on where it's like, okay, they're getting outplayed here. This Belgian team knows what it's doing.
Yeah.
The U.S. is back on its heels.
It just felt like, it was really interesting, right? Because I watched Mexico-England on Sunday. Absolutely phenomenal game. Such a good game. Oh, my goodness. I watched Norway against Brazil on Sunday. Another fabulous game. I
saw Portugal and Croatia last week. That was a great game, too.
Even today, I watch Argentina and Egypt.
I wish I saw that. Yeah, I didn't catch it in real time.
You watch all those games, right? And the trailing team, you're like, oh, they could still win this. Oh, they could still win this. I feel like, I actually feel kind of good. I feel like they might be able to do something here. USA, when they go down 2-1 and that goal happens right after they tied it up, I went, oh, this one's over. I was like, this one's over. And then they basically step on their own privates to make it 3-1. And then there's
I wouldn't be too ashamed of that.
and then there's a garbage time goal to make it 4-1. Like, the believability is the theme of the show today, by the way, tonight. The believability of USA,
like the
USA
Rock having
soccer.
dementia. Jack Black going to.
Hey man, what's up? Oh Jesus, here comes Jack Black again. Just hide the trinkets. He's gonna do something. No.
When Peter Griffin sees James Carville, he's like, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't look at you.
No, but like the believability that they're ever gonna do something is nil for me. They need a culture. There's got to be some sort of weird culture infusion there that just gives me some confidence, because right now the whole time I kind of felt like I'm excited, but I just see trouble ahead, right? And I didn't think trouble would happen in the round of 16, but sure enough, there it was for them once again. It's just this team. I think USA Soccer, and I thought Mike and Tony did a great job today, kind of talking about that with like the revamping of the program. They need to do something with that program and just make it more viable, streamlined, whatever you want to call it. Again, I said it earlier about the Celtics. I'll say it about Team USA. They need some dogs. They need some dudes that care. And if Pulisic is gonna begin the tournament being like, just another big tournament. I don't want you on my team, dude. I don't want you on this should be life and death for you. It's a World Cup on your soil, on your home turf. And just another tournament to me. Oh, go away.
That's a tough look when you can't get out of the round of 16. If he had actually won something, or if he'd proven himself in these big games, or at least gotten closer, and he's saying well, I treat it like just another game, then you would say, well, he has ice water in his veins. He's not fazed by the moment. I don't know, kind of looked fazed by the moment after that last game.
A little bit.
That guy, yeah, you don't necessarily want that guy to be your identity, right? You want that guy to be, you want your identity to be the dog, the guy that has the dog in him and he's competing and all that. I feel like the outliers, the winners, are going to be the teams that actually care about winning and are trying to win. I feel like half these teams with the analytics approach aren't really trying to win. They just think it's all luck. So it's let's just play GM mode in the offseason, and then we'll put together the best roster we think we can. And if we win, we win. That's great, but we don't really care about that, because at the end of the day, it's just about operating at maximum efficiency and filling our algorithms.
I will say, I have watched more international soccer in the last 3 weeks than I have in my entire life. And it's made a fan out of me. I will tell you that. Having the World Cup in our backyard has made a fan out of me.
Same. I'm going to watch. I wish I saw that Argentina game, but now I'm really going to hone in on the now that we're in the round of 8 next. It's been good stuff. Outside of independent of America. I haven't seen much good from America other than that Paraguay game.
Mm-hmm.
But Portugal, Croatia, and those games you mentioned, it's been great entertainment. It would be nice if the Americans could actually be in on that. My issue, Ty, and I think Falker's completely right when he's we should be able to develop good soccer players with the amount of athletes we have here, the amount of people, the amount of guys with size and speed and athleticism and all that. I just think the problem is it's just soccer's not that big and there's not as much money in it. You look at a guy like Erling Haaland from Norway, by the way, a freak. I didn't know anything about him. My friend
got that Goro haircut.
I got a friend. Yeah, I got a friend who's a big fan of his. He included me. Watch him, truly a freak. If he were American, he probably would play basketball, or he would play tight end, or he'd be a basketball player that converted to tight end. He'd be that guy, because there's probably more money and a better, longer career than if he were a soccer player. I feel like you got to be a super mega star to really match the highest paid NFL and NBA players. I'm looking at it right now. Pulisic, our guy, is the highest paid American soccer player according to AI.
Just the check.
$27.5 million. That's a good chunk of change, but that's a third of the highest paid NBA player.
Yeah,
that's barely. He's in the conversation with the highest paid NFL players, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But if Christian Pulisic played football, I guess he'd be I don't know what he would be, a running back.
I will say this: I do love that this is a great ending for. I think FIFA as a whole, having Mbappe, Haaland, and Messi, in the final 8. Those guys have been must watch in this tournament, and it's been really. What I like about the World Cup is the way that I've fallen in love with countries that I previously never thought about. Right, like Norway.
I'm like that with Portugal.
So
I watched
Norway.
That game.
So people might know this about me. I live in Brighton, Alston. I live right by where the Bruins practice. It's just easy. It's easy for me to live there and walk to work, basically. So Norway had an event at Roadrunner, which is right across from where the Bruins practice. They're in the area all day. I get to know some of them. I get to hang out with some of them. And now I'm sitting there chanting, let's go Norway. It is funny. I have Scottish roots, so I was rooting for Scotland as well.
There you go.
I have a friend who's from Cape Verde, so I was rooting for them when they were playing. It is funny how these little things kind of add up, and next thing you know, you're watching soccer every day. And I will say that, again, having it in our backyard, having it at the time of day that we're up and around versus 4 a.m., in Qatar or whatever it was, it's been a huge, I think, boost for the game. I wish it was going to be here 4 years from now, but I'm enjoying it while I can. I just wish USA Soccer was legit.
Absolutely. So I actually did one of these, Boston Globe had a quiz where it's which team should you root for in the World Cup? Where it's if you're not necessarily rooting for America, or you want to, pick another team to root for. I did the quiz. They landed on Switzerland for me.
Okay, so
and
you're
Switzerland
you're
is still
alive.
in. That's what. So I feel like, but my other team, if I were to possibly root for someone, is Argentina, because I went to my cousin's wedding, in another state several years ago. Met a lot of her friends. She had a lot of friends who were from Argentina. Great people. They really got me into the whole idea of the Argentina soccer, and I got into it for the 2022 World Cup, and lo and behold, Argentina actually pulls it off in that one. So that was fun. So this is the deal I'm going to make with myself, Ty. I'm going to watch Argentina and Switzerland Saturday night, and whoever wins that's my team that I will root for the rest of the tournament. So you're going Norway?
I mean, I'd like Norway to win. I got a feeling France is going to win, though. Mbappe feels like he's on an absolute warpath right
France,
now.
I remember checking, was the odds-on favorite. So,
but I mean, Messi, the Messi magic is real. It does feel like, right? Like you think they'd be dead in the water, and then they get one. And once they got that first one, I was like, oh, they're winning this game. I just had that weird feeling like, oh, they're going to win this game. They're going to find a way.
If they end up winning the World Cup, that might go down as the greatest comeback ever. Better than 28-3, better than anything else.
Yeah.
Just because of what it led to,
Yeah. And it would definitely put Messi in the conversation for being the greatest of all time, I think.
Oh, I thought he was already considered that.
Is he? I have no idea.
I think he's already considered
there's Maradona, there's Pele, there's Ronaldo. I mean, I think he's the greatest of this era. I think he's better than Ronaldo.
For sure, this era. I think people think he's the GOAT.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that then. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, maybe Pele. Yeah, Diego Maradona.
Yeah.
I don't know. We probably need real soccer people to weigh in on that one.
Yeah.
But I feel like Messi is like the Tom Brady of like he came in this modern era and just blew everyone else away. That's what I feel like he is.
You know what I will say too about the soccer thing? I know we got to take a break here. I will say I have enjoyed watching it because I don't feel like people are being snooty at me about it. I feel like the soccer fan, the soccer purist, has been really accepting of people that have adopted it as, hey, I don't know what's going on, but it's fun. They're helping you out versus being like, you don't know what offside is? You know what VAR is? What are you, an idiot? Like, I feel like it's way more welcoming.
Right. That's what I hate. It's like, I feel like I feel this with hockey fans sometimes. Like, I demand you to like my sport, and then you complain about people that don't know what's going on.
Hockey fans are the biggest thing working against hockey success. It cracks me up.
You gotta bring the people in. You gotta make them want to watch. You can't, shun them for not knowing what they're talking about. All right, 617-779-0985. You want to call in with a last-minute call, that's great. Otherwise, we're just going to take one more break, do one more little segment here. Taking you home here, Matt Dolloff and Ty Anderson on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub.
I don't know what to say anymore, Ty.
Oh,
I feel like we've exhausted everything. You give me something.
What is a good season for the Celtics? And I'm asking that to you. I'm asking that to Skaz. What is a good season for them?
A good season is, I think it absolutely has to involve getting out of the first round. They have to take a step forward from last year. I think that is an absolute must. And I think they should be in the top half of the Eastern Conference, honestly. Like, if you want to put New York, Philly, Cleveland ahead of them, that's fine. They should 100% be in the mix for at least that 4 seed. And then beat the 5 seed, which could be a similar team, like evenly matched. Prove that you can actually get out of the first round. Joe Mazzulla could prove that he's actually learned something and evolved as a head coach. And they actually are doing what they said they were going to do in terms of changing their play style. I think they have to get to the second round. I feel like they've gone to the point where we can't just expect a championship. But if you can get to the second round and at least prove that you're truly a playoff team and you're a tough out, I think that's a good year for them.
Scott?
Yeah, I think absolutely top 4 team in the East. I think I might have put it in Slack, but their win total still 51, 52.5, right in that range. It's 3 or 4 games above the 76ers, so the sports books still have the Celtics as a top, 2-3 team, in the East. And how about just don't lose a playoff series where you're a minus 1,000 favorite? Can we not do that again? That would be pretty good. I know that's a low bar these days, but being a minus 1,000 favorite, I would just say you probably shouldn't lose those series.
I'm going to say get out of the second round because I think the Eastern Conference is still not that very good.
Okay, so get to the conference, get to the Final Four.
Yeah,
that's definitely a good year after this whole thing.
So that's
a great year.
A slight qualifier here. I will accept a second round playoff loss if you beat the 76ers in the first round. If you beat Jaylen Brown in the playoffs, then that's a successful year.
And now that I mentioned, second round, like if they lose to Cleveland or the Knicks again in the second round, that's not going to feel like a good year. Right?
No, because then you're stuck in purgatory, where you're kind of just in that mushy middle, right? That we talk about with other teams in town. That
mushy middle. That sounds like me.
I would rather be all in, and if I'm not all in, then there's not a huge benefit to being second round fodder every year, right? Like you kind of owe it to yourself to make a harder decision or aim bigger. Then we just want to get in and maybe make some noise. So I want to get to the third round, unless you beat Jaylen Brown and the Sixers, and then you can say, look we beat the guy we traded. Isn't that valuable?
That's going to be awesome whenever they play each other, especially that first game. I think Jaylen Brown's going to have the red ass, and especially if they clash in the playoffs, that would be fun.
I'd be a little scared. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'd be scared, and part of me would probably be kind of rooting for Jaylen Brown after he feels like sometimes you understand why he feels like everyone's wronged him, especially how the way this whole thing went down. All right, Ty, love you. Love doing radio with you. Glad we got through the 4-hour show. Intern Derek, great job back there. I just saw you. Skaz, great job as always. Thanks for listening, folks. Thanks for staying locked in the YouTube chat. Appreciate you all. Matt Dolloff, Ty Anderson filling in for Joe Murray. Thanks for listening.